Good evening, everybody. How's y'all doing today? Why is that not... I broke everything last week, didn't I? Specific window. It really don't want to work, huh? Alright, might lose the audio for a second. Gotta make a whole new thing. New, source, scene. No, not a scene. Oh, that's huge. And then we bring this down here. Okay, finally. So,
you didn't finish this one.
So we left off at the end of chapter 1, started chapter 2, and Miho has a home now. With Juliet, the strange library lady, who only ever seems to be out at night. And has bat friends. And then there's also Aspen, the barista from the coffee shop, the Bell House. And Aspen is a disaster, and I love her. Now, these are also the two romance options for this game, and determine which endings you get. We won't be getting to the choice that puts us on one of the two. I was talking! So yeah, we're not going to be picking the route this time. You were. Thanks. Yeah, we're not going to be picking the route today. That's not going to be until next stream, like next Women Wednesday stream. But we're going to be picking Juliet. Just as a heads up. So yeah, chapter 2 is called A Life Worth Living. For the second day in a row, I wake up in a soft bed. My bed. It's early. The library downstairs is silent. No one else is here aside from Juliet. I didn't even transform before falling asleep last night. Just passed out like this with human legs and arms. No wonder I'm sore. Ain't that a fucking mood? After I agreed to Juliet's offer, the rest of the day passed by quickly. Aspen and Juliet showed me around the house part of the library, and Juliet made dinner for the three of us. Aspen didn't leave until the evening, and I decided to go to bed early. After the whirlwind of emotions I went through yesterday, I was exhausted and fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. Not having to be on alert the moment I open my eyes is a nice change. I can toss and turn and even doze a little bit longer. Eepy Foxo. I get as much rest as my body will let me. Once I've had my fill of being lazy, I finally crawl out of bed, literally me every morning.
Okay, time to get up.
It doesn't take me long to get ready. I tiptoe out the door out of habit so carefully that only someone with super keen hearing would be able to hear me. But then I remember.
Oh yeah, I don't need to sneak around while I'm here.
I loosen up and step out into the hallway, shutting the door behind me. Being so openly noisy is almost harder than being sneaky. The building is still quiet. Juliet told me to come find her when I wake up, so I make my way down the hallway towards the room she showed me yesterday. It's one of the last in the hall, tucked away in the corner. Unlike the other doors, the tiny bit of flickering light escapes from the gap below.
This is the place.
Now that I'm standing here, my nerves start to get the better of me. What if she's forgotten me this time and chases me away? Or what if... I screw my eyes shut and take a deep breath, pushing away my worries. If I'm gonna stay here for a while, I need to stop thinking like that. I can't let that fear keep winning. Forcing myself to be brave, I twist the doorknob and enter. Wait, I should have knocked, shouldn't I? It's too late now. I step into the room only to be struck by how dark it is. With just one window, the main light source is a candle-lit lamp, illuminating the white-clothed figure sitting at her desk. Just like the library downstairs, there are rows and rows of books covering the shelves around the room. Juliet looks up to greet me, a gentle smile written on her face.
Oh, good morning, Miho. Did you sleep well?
She remembered me. I hide my relief, I think.
I sure did. I think that might have been the best sleep I ever had.
I'm most glad to hear it. Would you like to sit down?
Oh, sure. Thanks.
There's only one other seat, so I awkwardly sit down across from her. Feels a little bit like an interrogation.
Would you like some tea?
I've never had tea, so I don't know if I like it or not. I think I should accept her offer out of politeness, though.
Sure.
Juliet pulls out a teacup from a shelf nearby and sets it on a little plate, then pours the tea without spilling a single drop. She pushes the plate with the cup over to me.
Sugar?
I've eaten enough human snacks to know that I like sugar.
Yes, please.
Juliet offers me a small pot of little white cubes. Without hesitating, I take two and toss them into my mouth. They're kind of crunchy at first, but quickly fall apart. Juliet frowns, just a little, enough that a human probably wouldn't notice. Did I do something wrong? Wait, I know!
Oh, thank you.
That gets her to smile, so I'm pretty sure I did the right thing. She's adorable.
We'll have breakfast in a little while. Aspen usually comes by to help open the library, and then we eat together.
That sounds nice. Does she help out because of the sunlight?
My, that's astute of you. You're correct. Although I'm able to tolerate a bit of sun, I do prefer the dark.
Same, but not the same reasons.
I wasn't sure if you knew I was a vampire or not.
Yeah, just straight up says it.
I figured it out just now. That explains how you were able to hear me and find my den, huh?
Indeed. That said, I have my dear friend Orpheus to thank for helping me know where to find you.
Orpheus? Persona reference! Something scratches in the corner of the room, and I look up to notice a large bat dangling from a hook on one of the shelves. Has that been there this entire time?
Is he also...
No, Orpheus is a bat through and through, not a vampire. He happened to notice you on his way home one day.
So that's the friend you were talking about. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, and Miho followed him home.
I have the pleasure of knowing several of Wellington's loco bats. They keep me apprised of news from around the city.
You're not, like... you know...
I tap one of my front teeth, not sure how to ask the question politely.
Oh, heavens no! I consume as little blood as one of my kind can, and what I do partake of is freely donated. I love this city, and its people. I'd never had them like that.
Man, this has been a roller coaster, and it's not even been 10 minutes yet. Goddamn.
Besides, I had quite enough of that during my time in the underworld. Is that where you come from as well?
There's so much lore to this setting that we just don't know about, but I think would be super cool.
the underworld. I'm from Korea. I've heard lots about it, though. I'm one of the only Fabled I know of who doesn't come from there.
Fabled! DZ reference.
For a long time, I didn't even know that other Fabled existed.
Or that they were called Fabled.
Indeed. Gumio like yourself are some of the few I know of.
Wait, Gumiho? Is that what I'm called? That explains a lot.
It's literally your name.
You didn't know, but you go by the name Miho.
See? Juliet gets it.
Just because I like the sound, I thought it was more like a nickname. I change it up wherever I go. Gumi, Homie, Migu. I've never had a real name.
Yet they all still surround the word Gumiho.
I didn't even know I had a kind. I've never met someone else like me. I wonder if we'd have much in common.
Have other foxes, well, Gumiho, lived the same kind of life I have? Maybe they're better at fitting in with people than I am, and that's why I've never seen one.
Are there any other Gumio in Wellington?
None that I know of. It's possible, though.
I'm not sure what I'd say if I did meet one.
I've wondered about others like me before, but since I've never met one, I eventually assumed they don't exist. Finding out they do, and that there's even a name forest, comes as a pretty big surprise. No matter how long I've been alive, there's still so much I don't know about the world. As our discussion tapers off, the sound of the front door reaches my ears from downstairs. Juliet must have heard it too, looking over as I do.
Oh, that'll be Aspen. Shall we go down to breakfast?
I'll never say no to that.
She love her food. Orpheus the Bat leaves the study when we do, though he flies off in a different direction. I guess he won't be joining us for the meal. I want a bat friend. I have to be careful not to spill my cup of tea as we walk down the stairs. Aspen waits at the bottom, a large book tucked under her arm. She waves with her free hand to greet us.
Good morning, Aspen. It's nice to see you again.
Good morning, Juliet. And you too, Miho. I must admit, I was a little worried you might run off during the night.
Valid, given, Miho's previous predilection to just fucking running from everything.
I may have thought about it a little.
Vindication!
After I went to bed, though, I was out like a light.
Glad you decided otherwise, then. Living in the library sounds like heaven. I can't believe you'd think about giving that up. Anyway, I'm opening today, so I can't stay too late. I'll go ahead and take care of the windows.
I'll get started on breakfast then. Would you like grape or strawberry jam?
I think I'm feeling like strawberry today. Oh, or some of that orange marmalade if there's any left.
That's something I haven't had in a very long time, or even seen in stores. Where's the fucking marmalade? Did someone just, poof, make all the marmalade in the world disappear?
You have to let Miho try that too.
I'll see if we have it. Is that a nonce you have with you? You can just leave him on the desk for now.
It sure is. I'll be taking Jacques on the way out.
I'll write it down.
The two of them stroll off in different directions while I stand on the stairs, unable to follow any of the conversation.
Who's Jax? Anonsei. I don't see anyone with you.
Oh, Miho. Soon you will learn about books.
This is Anonsei.
She taps the cover of the book she brought with her.
He's the author of this. Juliet suggested I read some of his work, but I'm finding him rather dull.
Huh.
I try my best to sound interested, but books are the most boring thing I can imagine. Maybe I'd see the appeal if I could read them, but how can they be better than doing things yourself? Oh, Miho, you sweet, sweet baby, who is probably several hundred years old. After setting the book down on the front desk, Aspen goes into the main room, leaving me alone in the hallway. I make my way down the rest of the steps. Looking down at my teacup, I decide to take a tiny sip. Yuck. It's kind of bitter, but also bland at the same time. Frowning, I set the cup down on one of the shelves nearby. At least I tried it. The sugar was way better, though. You're supposed to put the sugar in the tea, Miho. The door Aspen went through is still open, and I can hear her bustling around. The room where Juliet went isn't far away either, and I already smell food. I guess I'll go watch Juliet, because breakfast. Give food. I follow my nose and head to the kitchen. There's a big frying pan on the stove with a blob of melting butter sizzling inside it. Juliet gives a pan a push to move it around before walking to the counter to continue her work.
That smells great.
Oh, Miho, go ahead and take a seat if you'd like. This shouldn't take long.
I do what she suggests and sit down at the dinner table in the same spot as yesterday. Lovely smells swirl about the room as she opens up this jar and that.
What you making?
Fried eggs and toast with some fresh fruit. It's what we usually have. Is that all right with you?
Better than alright. I'm almost drooling just thinking about it.
I hope that it lives up to expectations then.
I watch as she quickly butters a few slices of bread and then tosses them into another pan on the stove. While it cooks, she takes an apple from a nearby bowl of fruit and cuts out the core before swiftly chopping it into perfectly even pieces.
Sure did that fast.
Practice makes perfect, as they say, and I've had quite a lot of practice.
After moving the apple slices onto a plate, she takes an orange and starts to do the same thing.
The bats enjoy fruit as well, so I tend to keep a lot of it around the house.
I want a bat friend. I want a cute little bat friend that eats fruit and stuff. Have you ever seen a baby bat try and eat a banana? That is the cutest shit you've ever goddamn seen.
If there are any items you'd like me to keep around the house for you, do let me know.
Something tells me that snacks from the convenience store aren't what she has in mind.
I'll tell you if I think of anything.
Juliet finishes the fruit before dropping the eggs into the pan with butter, where they start to sizzle too. Finally, she slides the toast out and onto a plate. Toast? Out from where? Tell me where the toaster is. Right as the eggs finish cooking and Juliet sets the table for the three of us, Aspen daintily steps into the room.
All set on my end.
Thank you. I just finished cooking too.
We all sit down and dig in. The food, of course, is delicious.
So, Miho, how will you be spending your first day as an official Wellington resident?
I don't know yet. Hadn't really thought about it. Now that you mention it, I'll have a lot more free time now, huh? Usually I'd go hunting for food, or looking for a better place to stay, or...
Instinctively, I go silent as I reach for my pocket and the familiar crumpling paper.
Or...
If it's something you don't want to share, don't feel that you must.
Right, that too.
Aspen is always like, ah, yes, I forgot to do the tactful thing. She means well, but she's, a little blunt. And not in, like, a mean way, just like... Aspen often doesn't think before she speaks. I hesitate. I'm not sure I've ever told anyone about what I'm searching for. Or at least not the specifics. I've had a lot of first times lately, though. What's one more? Besides, maybe the two of them can help.
No, it's okay. I've been looking for someone.
I wipe my hands first, making they don't have any crumbs or grease on them. Then I carefully slide the thin scroll from my pocket. I always keep it in the deepest part where it won't get wet or damaged. With great care, I gently unroll it. Why can't I say the word? With great care, I gently unroll it. Thank you. Letting the two women see the ink markings brushed onto the scroll. The edges are fuzzy with age by now, but the text is still legible. I think, anyway.
They gave me this a long time ago. I don't know what it says.
Is that Korean? Maybe Chinese? I'm not able to read either one, unfortunately.
Given that she's from Korea, I would guess Korean.
They remind me of older Chinese characters, but I can't be certain myself. Sorry, but I'm not too familiar with them either.
I guess they don't have Google Lens. Hold up phone camera to scroll. Translate. Done. They look a little defeated, but I quickly wave off their concern.
It's okay. Nobody I've asked could read it either. For all I know, they might just be scribbles. I thought that maybe if I knew what it said, it would help me find them.
Who exactly are they, if I may ask?
They're a traveler. I learned that word just to be able to describe them. They were the first human I ever met, and they told me stories about the rest of the world.
And you've been searching for them ever since then?
Yep, for as long as I can remember. I met them back in Korea, when I was a fox. I couldn't understand what they were saying, not until much later.
Reminiscing about them gives me a very particular feeling. It's warm and fuzzy, but also a little sad. I think people call it nostalgia. My voice is a little quieter as I finish what I mean to say.
But that never stopped them from coming to see me. I don't know their name or even where they're from, but I'll definitely recognize them when I see them again.
Both Aspen and Juliet are quiet for a moment, visibly thinking over what I've said. After a long while, it's Juliet who speaks first.
In that case, I'd be happy to assist in any way I can.
Me too, of course. Speaking of which, I may have found something useful to you. I was doing a little bit of research on Gumiho last night. There was surprisingly little to be found compared to some of the other fabled.
Wait a sec. You found out that I'm a Gumiho too?
It's a day of firsts for Miho.
Well, yes. It wasn't too difficult to look up. Is that odd?
So in less than a day, both Aspen and Juliet were able to learn something about myself that I couldn't in a lifetime.
I guess not.
I only realize how I sound after I've said it. Juliet shoots a look at Aspen, who quickly tries to move the discussion along.
Anyway, I was trying to find out why Juliet and I can remember you when nobody else can. Although I didn't find anything about memories in particular, there was one story that claimed a Gumiho's curse doesn't take effect until a full day later.
Oh, of course. And since you and I both saw Miho again before too much time passed, we didn't forget her.
Right. That also makes sense from what you told us yesterday, Miho, doesn't it? You said you don't tend to talk to people a second time.
Yeah, I usually try to avoid it, really.
Valid. I had never thought of my magic as a curse before, but I guess to the person who forgets me, it is.
So that means that all we have to do to avoid forgetting about Miho is...
It's impossible to miss the pause before Aspen's words, like she's not confident in what she's about to say.
See her every day. Forever.
Deal. Forever. That word hangs in the air. Aspen says it cheerfully, but even I can recognize just how impossible that is. At some point, even these two will forget me, won't they? Why even try then? Why bother if I know it'll just hurt in the end? Oh, that's a big oof. On cue, those kinds of doubts start to whirl in my head as always. It's so tempting to just stop caring and giving up on others. No, I won't let myself dwell on that. Not in my first day living here. Who knows? Even if it's a long time from now, maybe these thoughts will go away for good. Juliet clears her throat before the silence goes on for too long.
Well, that's not bad at all. Preserving the memory of those you hold dear is one of the most important parts of life.
Aspen ponders for a moment before nodding.
It really is.
It seems a little early for either of them to consider me dear to them, but I keep that to myself.
So, anyway, about Jacques.
See, Miho, they weren't talking about you. For relief, Aspen changes the subject away from me and my magic. As Juliet and Aspen chat between themselves, the conversation drifts onto things I don't know about and people and places I don't recognize. It's all probably related to books. I smile and laugh when they do, but I'm not really paying attention or talking. Listening to the two of them, they may as well be speaking a different language. The more I observe, the more it seems I'll have to learn. Not just about normal people and human life, but about myself as well, and even the world. In one day, both Aspen and Juliet were able to figure out what I am and how my magic works. I've had a long, long time to do that, and still had no idea. It doesn't even seem like it was that hard for them. Here's something I have to admit to myself. I haven't really tried before. Just what have I been missing out on? I feel something bubbling up inside of me. The same feeling as yesterday when I decided to come back to the library instead of running away. Something that makes me clench my fists and take a deep breath as I make another decision. Something that I realize I can put a name to, even though it's a new one for me. This is what people call hope. Even if it's pointless in the end.
I want to learn how to be a person.
Don't we all, Miho? Don't we all? Juliet cuts off whatever she was saying mid-sentence. Both she and Aspen turn to face me, eyes wide. Oops. I guess I should have started by waiting for them to stop talking. Yeah, that'll probably help.
You want to... what?
The way she says it. I've already messed this up, but I keep going.
Be a person. To know about the things you two are talking about. All the stuff that you give me a weird look for when I don't know. I want to learn about it.
I'd say that you're already well on your way.
Her expression becomes quite serious as she continues. I'm a little glad she sees as much weight behind this as I feel about it.
Miho, there are some things that you can't rush or change overnight. This is definitely one of them. That said, starting can be the hardest part. You've already taken the first steps.
What Juliet said. I'm sorry, too. I didn't mean to keep you out of our conversation.
Aww, she's a good bean.
No, it's okay. I was busy thinking anyway. I can't stop looking for my person, of course, but maybe I can do more than that too.
We'll help you in any ways that we can.
Aspen nods in agreement, but then checks the time and sighs.
It'll have to wait until later, though, because I need to be leaving for work. I'm sure Juliet needs her rest, too.
Thanks. I am rather tired.
Oh no.
Right on your own for the day, Miho.
Oh, why they gotta do that to me? I haven't even been up for like... Okay, now I've been up for a full 6 hours. I've been sleeping so much lately. Just the change in seasons and weather and everything just fucks me up really bad.
Yeah, I should be. I'll figure out something to do.
Wonderful. Here, let me take this.
She gets up and collects the dirty plates, then carries them to the sink.
Tomorrow I have to go in earlier than usual to open. If you come by, I can make you that drink again, Miho. As long as you promise not to run away, that is.
Well, hopefully no one else... Actually, no, no one else should remember that. So at least it won't be embarrassing to walk back in.
Sure. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere this time. Although... will it still be at home?
You mean on the house?
At home?
Like... free.
Oh, on the house! Yes, of course. This should probably be the last time, though, or my boss will start getting upset.
It's fine, it's fine.
Aw, okay. It was nice while it lasted.
Aspen pauses as she rises from the table and starts to leave.
You know, getting a job might be a good idea if you're serious about living a normal life. It's hardly the most fun, but then you could buy as many fairy kiss chillers as you want.
Yeah, legit, it sounds great. Some sort of, like, mint chocolate chip ice cream drink. I'm not supposed to have coffee, but I would have coffee if it meant having that.
A job? Sounds like a pain.
You're right. Aspen just sighs as I sink into my seat. The way she talks about having a job makes it sound awful.
Well, it's just a suggestion. See you later, Juliet. Miho.
Oh my god, I can't fucking stop yawning now. Thanks, Juliet. Hang on. I'm gonna open this Coke. Or, sorry, not off-brand cola. Hi, chat. What's this game about? So this is a visual novel about the girl in the center there, Miho. She can turn into a fox. Well, was a fox first, and then got the ability to turn into a human. And anyone who doesn't see her, so like if you see her and then it's like over 24 hours before you see her again, you will have forgotten about her entirely. And this is her kind of like finally settling down after a few centuries of just wandering. I think that covers it. Oh shit, I realized I missed that line. After the distant sound of Juliet shutting her bedroom door, the whole library is silent, leaving me alone with my thoughts in the kitchen. The front doors are unlocked and open to everyone, so it's just a matter of time until the first guest arrives. That's a pretty cool and depressing power. Yeah, like from a human standpoint, it's, very depressing, but from her standpoint, starting life as just a fox, it has been extremely helpful.
Well, what do I do now?
The empty room doesn't have an answer. Right about now, I'd usually be scrounging for breakfast or scoping out a new place, or maybe even planning where I'll spend the night. But with a full belly and a bed to come back to, I don't have to worry about any of that. Instead, I have a lot of free time on my hands.
Guess I'll explore.
It's how I've been spending a lot of my time recently anyway. And while Juliet and Aspen seem fine so far, it's a little tiring to be around other people so much. Having some alone time is important too. I mean, yeah, especially when you're several hundred years old and you're used to being alone all the goddamn time. Making my way into town, I tried to pay more attention to what people are doing instead of searching for opportunities. I meant what I said about wanting to be more of a person, but small steps are easier for me. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's observing. Oh yeah, so previously when she first got to this town, she was just like thieving for food. And it was pretty great. course, I'll also be keeping an eye out for anything that can help me find my person, but I have to admit I don't have much of a plan for that. Oh right, she's also looking for a person who was around when she was a fox. Like, initially a fox, she still is. And that person gave her this scroll, but Miho can't read, so she doesn't know what it says. And then they open it up and it's like, this is Korean. None of us know Korean. Usually when I go to a new country or city, I'll try to find someone who might know them or who recognizes my scroll. I usually prefer asking other Fabled. They're easier to deal with than humans. Fabled is just... This is a thing that is not explained, by the way. Fabled are, like, non-humans, so... one of the ladies, the lady who's just there dressed in white, Juliet, she's a vampire and is from the underworld. None of this is explained, and at some point it's mentioned that there was a war between humans and Fabled. That's all we get. I want more out of this world. It's got really great ideas to start with, and I want more. Shit just be happening? Yeah, lots of things happening always. It's not a very efficient plan, if I'm being honest. I'd have to get really lucky for it to work, but I haven't come up with any better ideas. Now that Aspen and Juliet have offered to help, maybe they'll be able to think of something new. For now, I'm just killing time. I take it slow passing through the city, even pop into some stores along the way. One is full of musical instruments, while right next door is a store selling kitchen utensils. Across the street, there's another place with racks full of used clothes. I step into each store and pace around the aisles, just browsing. Usually I'd never come into these kinds of shops. Even though they have some expensive stuff, it's all bulky and hard to carry. Plus, I've learned the hard way that some pawn shops and buyers are good at guessing when something's stolen. Now that I'm paying more attention to what's for sale, I realize that I don't even know what a lot of this stuff does. In the kitchen store, there's normal pots and pans and dishes, which makes sense, but there's also a bunch of different gadgets with all kinds of shapes and sizes. I can't even guess what you'd use some of them for. I would love to see her try and figure out a turkey baster. And she'd just be like, I don't know. At the music store, I recognize a few instruments, like guitars and pianos and drums. There's also a bunch that I've seen before, but don't know the names of, mostly the kinds you play with your mouth. There's a joke to be made there. Then there are some that I've never seen, and can't even be sure are actually instruments and not some other kind of device. I seem to be the only one having this problem. In both stores, the other customers I've seen all walk around like they know what they're doing, or are at least looking for something in particular. I try to listen in on a conversation that's happening with, or that someone's having with the salesperson, but it's just like listening to Aspen and Juliet talk. I don't recognize half the words. In the end, I don't spend long in either store.
This is already harder than I thought.
Nearby, there's a clock outside one of the stores, and it informs me that it's only been an hour or so since I left the library. Guess there's still a long time before Juliet will be up. Guess I'll keep looking around. Although I'm not expecting much, I continue to browse through most of the shops I pass, just for something to do. I think about going by the Bell House and saying hello to Aspen, but when I get there, there's a line out the door and around the building. Peeking through the window, I don't even see her. Instead, someone else is taking orders at the counter. I don't feel like waiting, so I keep walking instead. I feel that when you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go to this place that I know. And then no. It's packed. It's like, alright, fuck this, I'll be back later. I end up walking for as long as I can stand it. Past the Skyport and beach, past Mount Victoria, back towards town yet again. When it eventually gets too boring for even for me, I head back to the library. It's much busier now than when I left it. There's a pile of books on the desk that people have brought back, and the checkout sheet is half full. Some of the chairs are occupied, and at least a dozen people are browsing the shelves. None of them pay me any mind, even when I grab a snack from the kitchen and then head up to my room. They're just like, okay, you're here now. In there, I do the only thing there is to do. Flop onto my bed and look up at the ceiling. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad to have a bed to do that in, but it doesn't help much right now.
So I can be bored outside or bored inside?
In my normal life, I'm usually too busy to be bored. Having time to rest and relax can be a luxury. Now I've got more time than I know what to do with. I hadn't even realized this would be a problem. Yeah, when you have nothing to do, like when you're unable to work, and so, you're just home all the time, and you have all the time in the world, you feel like you're stuck because there's you have all this time, but then decision paralysis about what to do with it happens.
Guess all I can do is wait for Juliet.
Hopefully she'll have some ideas. I get the feeling she could give advice on anything.
May as well get comfy.
Nap time! Yawning, I get under the covers and transform into a fox. With the soft pillow under my head and the cozy blanket above me, it's a lot like being in a very comfortable den. And after all the walking I did, a nap does sound pretty nice. If I'm lucky, I won't wake up until Juliet does. Going fox mode? Yeah. Wrapping my tail around my face, I close my eyes and eventually drift off to sleep. It's almost dark out when I finally open my eyes. Just like this morning, it takes a second for me to remember where I am. I burrow my way out of the blankets and retake my human form, rubbing the sleepiness from my eyes.
That nap worked better than I expected.
Hopefully Juliet will be awake by now. If she isn't, I don't know what I'll do. There's no way I'm falling back asleep anytime soon. Unlike this morning, when I pass by Juliet's office, there's no light from under the door. I do catch the sound of something going on in the kitchen, so I make my way downstairs. In the kitchen, I'm treated to quite the sight.
Good evening, Miho. I'll be with you in just a moment.
It's not just Juliet in the kitchen, but 3 bats as well. One clings up to the back of the chair Aspen sat in this morning, and another is on top of the fridge. The third one is perched on Juliet's shoulder. I think it's the same one I saw in her office. Look at them, they're so cute. I want little bat friends that I can talk to. Yeah, they're just little guys. One of them, I think it's the one on her shoulder, his name is Orpheus. And I think that's a great name. Persona 3 reference. Juliet's holding a small bag and handing out the contents to the different bats. On closer inspection, I realize that they're bugs. All the bats devour them greedily, including the one nibbling by Juliet's ear. Yo, that's... Yeah, exactly. She doesn't seem too bothered and hands them each another treat.
All right, here are the last ones.
The bats on the chair and fridge finish their snacks and they fly over my head and out of the kitchen. Their wings nearly clip me on the face, and the gust they create blows my hair around. The last one stays on Juliet's shoulder even after it's finished eating, and then Juliet picks up a small envelope from the counter and ties it to one of the bat's legs.
Thank you, Orpheus. We'll see you soon.
He's a good boy. Launching itself off Juliet's shoulder, Orpheus takes flight and exits through one of the library windows. Even though he was much bigger than the other bats, it doesn't look like Juliet was fazed by being used as a launch pad.
My apologies, Miho. You caught me just at dinner time for the bats.
No, it's good.
It's okay. I just woke up.
God, everyone stop sounding so sleepy. Seriously, I want to stop with the yawning.
Oh? I take it you had a busy day then?
Quite the opposite.
Well, not really. Just walked around for a while and then took a nap because didn't know what else to do.
I see. I'm sorry to have left you on your own all day. I should have made sure you were taken care of before I went to sleep.
She sure does apologize a lot. Is that what it means to be polite? Makes me kind of uncomfortable. It's not like she did anything wrong. It's such a mood. It's like, please stop apologizing for things you could not control. It's making me uncomfortable.
What are some of your hobbies? There are all manner of things tucked away in this room. All that throughout the library.
Hobbies. I don't think I know that word.
Something you do for fun, just because you enjoy it.
Oh! I don't really have anything like that.
Well, I mean, what hobbies could you have as a fox? Although she raises her eyebrows, Juliet just nods. I'm guessing that wasn't an answer she was expecting.
I think I understand. Well, perhaps that should be our first order of business. I believe you'd find your life much enriched with something amusing to do.
Okay. Like what?
She ponders for a moment, tapping the countertop beside her.
It could be anything. A sport, an art, or even something like watching television. Whatever brings you joy.
Pretty sure I've never tried any of those.
Then, it seems we have plenty of options to start with. I know you've done a lot of walking today already, but I need to go into town to run some errands. Would you be interested in accompanying me? Maybe we'll see something along the way that strikes your fancy.
Sure. Fine by me. Not like I've got anything better to do.
Okay, so what we do is we go to a games workshop and we get Miho invested into Warhammer. With a smile, Juliet gathers up some more papers and envelopes from the table and tucks them under her arm.
Let's be off then.
Leaving the library unlocked, we set down the familiar path. Juliet maintains a brisk pace, but isn't too fast. I like this a lot more than going slow.
So, Miho, how are you enjoying Wellington itself so far?
I like it. It's not too big and it's not too small. Like that there's the ocean and mountains close by.
Yes, we're truly fortunate to live in such a paradise.
How'd you end up here in the first place? You said you came from the underworld, right?
That's correct. Ugh, I was much wilder and irresponsible in those days. But then, I met someone who changed my life. Someone who made me want to be a better person. And part of that meant reinventing myself, with a new life in a new place. Rather like what you've been doing too.
Huh. I can't picture you being crazy like you said.
Yeah, Wild Juliet is not a thing that can, like, my brain can process. Unless they show us with her two endings.
That's something of a relief, but it was certainly true at the time. Sometimes, it does feel as if I was an entirely different person back then. It can be difficult to reconcile who we were with who we are, or want to be.
Doesn't seem like you had too much trouble with it.
I wouldn't say that. For one, this was very long ago. And even now, I continue to change. Everyone does. Perhaps in a few hundred years, I'll look back on these days, and they'll also seem like someone else's life.
Maybe.
Not that I think Juliet is lying, but it seems to me like she's just being modest. I may not have known her for long, but if anything, she seems a little too perfect. It isn't too late in the evening yet, so there are plenty of other people out and about too. Occasionally, someone will recognize and greet Juliet, and she always gives them a friendly greeting in return. After walking in silence for a couple of minutes, I clear my throat.
I've got a question.
What is it?
Do you always walk places?
As opposed to?
Flying. Can't you turn into a bat?
Where did you learn this, Miho? You can't read. Have you been to the movies?
Oh, yes. I suppose I can.
Wait, she can?
I do so only sparingly, though.
Damn, I forgot about that then.
I find that I appreciate life more as a human than as a bat.
Why? That's weird. Like being a fox a lot more. Being a human just feels clumsy. Your arms and legs are way too long and get in the way all the time.
I suppose that's true. It can be quite awkward at times. Or even embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly! I've never been embarrassed as a fox.
I understand. There are certainly downsides. I believe the good makes up for the bad, though. Some things are only possible as a human, or fabled.
Like what? I can't think of any, other than talking like this.
Building.
Like writing, for one thing, as our dear friend Aspen would surely mention. Or perhaps... like dancing. Have you ever danced, Miho?
Nope, never. I don't get why people do it either. Don't tell me you like dancing. Is that your hobby?
Don't tell me you like dancing.
I must confess that I do enjoy it. At times, that is. I wouldn't call it a hobby. But with the right person, at the right moment, it can be quite nice.
If you say so.
I find myself saying that a lot lately. Shaking and flopping your body around to music? It's not for me. I don't even know how they come up with this stuff. Dancing is older than you are, Miho. But I'm trying to remember to be polite, so I keep that part to myself.
So, on that note, I should have asked this earlier. Are there any hobbies that you have as a fox?
I never thought about it that way. Now that you mention it... Almost everything is better as a fox. The sun feels nicer on my fur than it does on my skin. Flowers smell better and more interesting when I sniff them. It's more... vivid.
I remember Aspen using that word and explaining what it means. I bet she'd be proud if she heard me use it. Yes, she would.
You do make it sound lovely. But are those things you do for fun?
Well...
I almost say yes right away, but then I think about it for a second. I do love those things I mentioned, but maybe they don't fit what Juliet is asking.
I guess not. They feel good, but they're not fun.
That's still valuable too.
So far, we've been following the same path that I took earlier when I went into town. But when we come to a crossroads, Juliet turns in the direction of a neighborhood instead of the city.
The first stop I need to make is down here. After that, we'll go look around and see if there's anything fun.
Alright, I'm just following you.
This isn't the same neighborhood where I hid from Juliet a couple of nights ago, although it's pretty similar. Some of these houses are the sort that remind me of bugs when I first arrived in Wellington. Yeah, get stick bugged. Atop one of them, a little one-story house with the porch light on. We stop at one of them, a little one-story house with the porch. Okay, I was like reading it wrong. I follow Juliet to the front door and she rings the doorbell.
Is this for one of your errands?
Yes, we're delivering those papers that were requested.
She straightens out the 2 yellow packets she was carrying. The door opens and a young woman carrying a baby stands behind it.
Oh, Miss Juliet! So good to see you!
With one of her trademark smiles, Juliet hands over the papers and the 2 chat for a bit. I lean against the wall, not involved or listening. When talking to the lady, Juliet uses the same warm tone and softness as when she's talking to me and Aspen. In fact, if I close my eyes, I could almost pretend that I'm back at the breakfast table with both of them, listening to them go on and on about books. Eventually, the woman takes the folder, and after saying goodbye several times, we leave. As soon as we're off her property, I turn to Juliet.
What was that all about?
I suppose you could call it another one of my hobbies. Sometimes, patrons have requests for information on their ancestors, or a piece of history that they'd like to learn about. For example, Mrs. Aliyu wanted to know about her husband's culture so she could teach her new child. I find and collect what's requested, and bring it to those who asked.
Whoa, sounds like a lot of work.
It can be, but I don't mind it. The past is worth preserving, but not everyone knows how. It's my honor to help people do so. I have assistants too, such as dear Orpheus, who is delivering a
Yeah,
letter
good
from
bat
the side
boy.
of town for me.
Orpheus is the goodest boy.
Are all the bats your helpers?
Some more than others. They're friends, not pets. And so if they don't feel like helping, then I won't force them.
To me, it sounds like a lot of trouble to go through for someone else, even with the bats helping out. But Juliet apparently likes being inconvenienced. It's the same as letting me stay in her library. That's certainly a way to put it. Still, it sounds like it could be really helpful in my own search for the Traveler. As Juliet leads us to our next destination, we leave the residential area and go back towards the city. I try to keep my eyes peeled for anything interesting. There are plenty of people sitting out at tables having a meal or walking around the shops, but nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, it's not that much different from when I was here earlier. There are more fabled and fewer humans, but there are still plenty of those too. Some of the places I pass by are closed now, but some, like the music store, are still open. When we come to a big building with a lot of posters on the walls outside, we stop.
This is one of our movie theaters. They show all the
Hold
most
the fuck
popular
up.
films, as well as independent ones from local creators.
She said it as theaters. Theater. Okay, I need a second. Every time I think I'm done, I'm just like, no, she said theaters. I'm dying. Oh, okay. Just gonna take a second. Okay, just take a quick sip. Okay. Better. I can keep a straight face now, I think. We should be good to keep going.
Have you ever been to see a movie before?
Not in a place like this. I know what movies are, but I don't think I've ever watched one.
Then how? You know what? I'm gonna stop asking questions because I keep end up asking things that I don't think I'm gonna get answers to.
You should try it sometime. Maybe you'll find you like them. Movies can make you feel all kinds of different things. Happy, sad, scared, or just amused. Some are good for making you think, and some are good because you don't have to think about anything and can just relax.
Yeah, like big blockbuster popcorn snacking movies.
Why would I want to watch something that makes me sad or scares me?
I agree with the second half of that. I don't like being frightened. Fuck off.
For some, it's fun to explore different emotions in a safe environment like that. When we see something that makes us feel strongly, it can stick with you. Perhaps cause you to view things in a different light. And if it ever becomes too much, you can simply stop watching or put on something else.
I'll try it sometime. Although, I don't know about the sad or scary ones.
There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has different preferences.
Along the way, Juliet continues to point out different shops and locations that she thinks I should know about, like another library or a museum. I'm not very interested in either of those things, but I smile and nod and pretend like I am. After a while, we leave the city behind and reach the waterfront, just like I usually do. The ocean looks much different at night. Looks much different at night? Is that correct? Alright, I'm just gonna keep going. With the starlight and moonlight reflecting off the water. Far out at sea, there are a few lights that must come from boats, and sometimes lights in the sky from passing airships. We head down a small path to the boardwalk, where we look out onto the water. There are a few empty buckets sitting on the ground nearby, as well as some folding chairs. I point them out.
What are those for?
People like to fish off at this pier. They come at all hours, but I believe this spot is used for teaching lessons during the day.
And we're gonna be doing them. I didn't do them the first time I played through the game. We're gonna do them this time.
Ooh, lessons on how to catch fish?
That's correct. Is that something you're interested in?
Maybe. It's one of those things that I like doing as a fox, but I don't know if I'd like doing it the human way.
Should you decide you'd like to try, I'm sure there would be someone here who's happy to instruct you.
Yes, we met him last time. I can't remember what his name was, but he had just one of those really memorable voices. We might find that, or we might revisit that tonight.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to commit to anything, but it couldn't hurt to come check this place out during the day.
I'm glad you found something that struck your fancy. Is there anywhere else you'd like to visit while we're out? Or should we return home?
Nah, I'm ready to head back. Is there anything for dinner?
I'm sure we can put something together.
Then let's go.
She's always so enthusiastic about food. Since I actually know where we are now, I lead the way home, with Juliet close behind me. It's another chilly morning in Wellington. I'm outside the Bell House waiting for Aspen.
People are gonna think I'm staking this place out. And for once, that isn't true.
The life of a former thief. It's after breakfast, but before the sun's up. Aspen invited me for a free drink before they open, but I'm starting to think I've been duped. You haven't been duped, you goober.
Anytime now.
I rub my arms and bounce around to try and stay warm. Right as I'm thinking about picking the lock myself, the front door swings open and Aspen waves me inside.
So anyway, like I was saying, my uncle taught me this trick to make it taste better. You put a little bit of salt in the coffee and it brings out the flavor, right? Not too much. You don't want to make it salty, but just a little bit.
This is Lena. Lena talks a mile a minute. I fucking love her.
Sorry about that. I got a little held up.
I like her? Yeah, good.
I was thinking maybe you forgot about me after all.
No, you're not rid of me that easily. I was just...
I tried it and it's really good. Have you tried it? Remind me, I'll make you one. So then I was thinking, if I start doing that every time I make a drink, eventually people will start realizing that their coffee's better when I make it, but they won't know why.
Talking to Lena.
Oh, Lena. She's so good.
That can always take longer than you expect or plan for. But she and I often look the other way for each other on certain things. Such as letting you in before the store opens, for instance.
Oh, am I not supposed to be here? That's cool.
Oh man, I'm not supposed to be here? Kick ass!
As long as we open on time, it's fine, and Lena and I are the two fastest.
I can see where Lena gets her speed.
You kind of have to be when she's involved.
Yep, there you go.
What do you mean?
I'm sure you'll see. Come on, what do you want today?
I inspect the menu. It's as unhelpful as ever.
Here's a paper copy, if that's easier to read.
She can't read. She hands me a little printout menu. It is also distinctly lacking pictures.
Sorry, can't read it.
Oh, do you need a Korean version? I'm afraid we don't have one.
Oh, nah. Can't read any languages.
Literally the embodiment of that sign can't stop me because I can't read. I gotta make that meme with Miho's face on it now. I may as well have told her that the sky is green. Aspen stares at me in clear disbelief. This isn't the usual weird look, this is beyond that. She laughs nervously.
You're joking, right?
A writer and novel enthusiast being told you can't read. It's like, excuse you? I shake my head. She collapses onto a stool behind her, fanning her face with the menu in her hand.
I can't believe it. I just can't. So you haven't. Wow.
I can tell she really wants to say more, but holds herself back.
I suppose that explains a lot. Still, I just can't imagine.
It takes a moment, but she regains her composure.
Anyway, if you want to try something new, then how about our ambrosia latte? It's one of our seasonal beverages with apple and caramel.
Apples and coffee? I've never had that before.
Yes, well, we're experimenting with the recipe still.
I said that we should try adding more cinnamon to it.
Hello, Lena. I don't even know where Lena comes from. Suddenly, she's just there.
Aspen said it would overwhelm the other flavors, but I add extra whenever I make one, and so far no one's complained.
Lena, are you serious?
Well, yeah. How else are we gonna find out which one's better? I'll make one for your friend too, and she can tell us which one she likes more.
2 free drinks, hell yeah.
Lena!
She's already gone. The other girl hurries back to the kitchen, clearly not caring about what Aspen was about to say. Aspen sighs and shakes her head.
Right, well, I have to open the registers and put on the coffee. I'll have your drink in a couple minutes.
Okay, thanks.
I hop up on one of the tall stools and wait, swinging my legs back and forth. Before long, the cafe fills with the smell of warm coffee and baking bread. It's enough to make my mouth water, even though it hasn't been long since I last ate. Aspen roams between the kitchen and the front area, always looking very busy. She checks and inspects what seems like every drawer and cabinet in the place while getting ready. Yeah, that's what opening is like. Lena's busy too, mopping up and setting up chairs. At some point, she put earphones in, and her music is loud enough for me to hear it from across the building. Ah, that would be me. Not anymore with the current headphones I have. They're better at keeping that in, but yeah, I am the person to blast that shit. After a while, Aspen returns to my table along with a steaming paper cup.
Here you go, one ambrosia latte.
I pop the lid off so I can take a peek at the drink itself. It smells light and fruity, and a swirl of caramel syrup is melting into the coffee and whipped cream. Oh.
Looks good.
Hopefully it tastes good too.
I have a tiny little sip since it's too hot to drink very fast. The tartness of the apple actually goes pretty well with the coffee flavor.
It's a little sour, but it's not bad. Not as good as a fairy kiss chiller, though.
Well, I can't complain about that.
The chair squeaks against the floor as Aspen sits down across from me.
So, have you decided how you're going to spend your day?
Not yet. What about you?
There's still another 7.5 hours left on my shift, so I'll be here for quite a while. After work, I try to have a social life or get some writing done. Although lately, I usually just collapse on the bed and take a nap.
Valid.
Hey, me too! Without a bed, though.
Yes, well, I'm sure frolicking through the flowers and chasing rabbits gets tiring.
Damn. She's just not holding back.
Ooh, are there rabbits around here?
Ha!
Not for long, I imagine. Speaking of which, have you thought about what I said yesterday? About getting a job? It seems you have more than enough time on your hands. You do know what a job is, right?
I think that's a fair question to ask at this point.
More or less. I mean, I've seen people at work before, but I've never had my own job before you ask.
Yes, I'm aware. Anyway, you'd have money to buy things you want, and you wouldn't have to steal to get it.
But stealing's fun.
What do I need money for, though? Juliet lets me sleep at her house, and she even gives me food.
I don't mean to sound rude or anything, but Juliet can't take care of you forever, you know?
I know.
Right now, I'm still getting used to even living here. I haven't given any thought to what might happen later on.
I don't even know what kind of job I could get. Is there some place that would hire me to steal things?
Probably, but still technically illegal.
Not legally, no.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
maybe you can find a way to use those skills. Maybe you could be a security guard somewhere, or a locksmith.
Yeah, reasonable.
Maybe. What exactly is your job, anyway?
Well, as you know, I'm a barista. That means I make coffee and tea and hot chocolate and whatever else our customers ask for. Some people rely on our products just to get through their day, so I consider it to be a very important job. If we were to close or go out of business, there would be a great many people who would be distraught over it.
Yes, the copium of telling yourself, my coffee shop job is important. I promise. I've been there.
Wow! And you're gonna do this for the rest of your life?
No.
Not for that long, I hope. It's not my passion by any means, but I don't mind it. It can be rather exhausting, though, especially on busy days.
I can't say she's selling me on this whole job idea.
What is your passion?
It's this.
Like she was waiting for me to ask, Aspen dramatically pulls out a small notebook and puts it on the table. It's the one that I see her writing in all the time. I lean forward to look at it closely. It's not very big, about the size of my hand, and mostly purple in color. There's an intricate gold pattern around the border. Definitely looks fancy. I could probably get a lot of money for this at the right store. No, you could... 1, Miho, stop that. 2, no, you won't. It's a notebook.
This is my writing notebook. One of them, at least. My passion is writing, bringing stories and characters to life, making people feel what I feel. There's nothing quite like it. So challenging, yet rewarding. It's both my favorite activity and also the most frustrating one. This notebook is full of story ideas, lines that I come up with, or other interesting details. One of the best parts of working here at the Bell House is that I get to meet so many interesting and inspiring people. For example, when you first came in, I wrote a brief note about you. I never imagined that just a few days later we'd be having this conversation.
Trust me, I didn't either. What did you write about me?
For some reason, Aspen's face gets a little red, because it's totally going to be something like, oh god, this gorgeous fox girl just came into the shop. Oh no, gay panic.
I don't remember, just that I wrote something. It's in another notebook, not this one. My dream is that someday I'll be able to make a living from my writing. In fact, when I moved to Wellington a couple of years ago, that was supposed to be the first step. It's been taking longer than I'd like so far. Every morning when I wake up, I tell myself that I'm not going to sleep that night until I finish at least a chapter.
I wouldn't be able to do that shit.
But then by the time I'm done with work, all I want to do is pass out. Of course, that just puts me further and further behind. I've really only myself to blame, I suppose, but life doesn't make it easy for me.
Sighing, Aspen puts her notebook away once more while I sip my drink.
Saying it like that, I can't fault you for not wanting to get a job.
Yeah, she understands.
I'm only here because I need some way to pay the bills. That's just the life of a starving artist for you.
Did someone say job? Are you getting a job here? Is this an interview?
Lena, calm your shit. From out of nowhere, Lena appears with a cup in her hands.
No, Miho's just a friend. And were you eavesdropping on us?
It's not eavesdropping if you're in public.
Is it? I don't know. Hey, Joni. Are you very excited about something? Because you're using the all caps.
You should learn to talk quieter if you don't want people to hear
No,
you.
just wanted to say hi. Oh, okay.
Tell me you're joking.
About what?
Before Aspen can even answer, Lena turns to face me instead.
Anyway, that's too bad. We could definitely use the help. Hey, why not apply here if you're looking for work? I bet Aspen would put in a good word for you, right?
The art in this game looks very good. Yeah, Studio Land goes to a lot of good artists for their stuff. I haven't seen a single visual novel of theirs that looks bad.
I could do it too. It'd kind of be lying, I guess, since I don't know you that well, but you seem like an alright person. I mean, if Aspen trusts you, you have to be okay, I think. I can go get you an application right now if you want. I printed out a whole stack of them yesterday. Actually, it's the second stack, because the first one jammed up the printer and...
Lena, breathe.
Lena, I am begging you to please be normal.
What? Tell me why it's a bad idea. Do you not think... What's your name again?
Miho.
Do you not think Miho could do it?
No, it's not that. I'm sure she'd do great. It's just...
Wait, that sounds fun. Would I get to work with you?
Yeah, we'd work together. Oh, you meant Aspen, didn't you? Yeah, she'd be there too.
Lena's so good. Slapping her hands on the desk, Aspen stands up from the table.
It's certainly an idea. Perhaps one we should discuss later. Lena, you and I should be getting to work, don't you think?
The patronizing supervisor voice, I see.
Okay, boss.
Please just go unlock the door.
Okay.
Smirking, Lena heads towards the front of the store.
Feel free to hang out for a bit if you'd like, Miho. Although it's going to get busy soon, so I won't...
Oh, wait, I almost forgot. If you need something to do, come play tennis with me this afternoon.
Tennis?
Yeah, you know, you hit the ball back and forth over the net.
I know what it is. Is that your hobby?
For now, I like trying new things.
I'll think about it.
I wasn't asking.
I wasn't I was about to say, man, I really like Lena. You know, she's high energy goofball and this, and then just, I wasn't asking. You're playing tennis with me today.
Anyway, you said it yourself. You're totally coming. So, I'll see you there.
Okay.
I can't help but feel I've been roped into something here. But it's true that I should at least give it a shot. Maybe I'll turn out to like it more than I expect.
Cool.
Lena starts to leave again, but then immediately jumps back around to face me again.
Oh, right. There's one more thing.
Jesus Christ, Lena. It's like Uncle from Jackie Chan Adventures. One more thing, one more thing. How many more things does she have? I can practically feel Aspen's exasperation as Lena runs back and slams the cup she was carrying onto the table in front of me.
Try this. Tell me which one you like more. The one I made or the one Aspen made.
Okay.
With an unnecessarily loud sigh, Aspen goes and unlocks the front door herself. I'm over halfway done with Aspen's drink, but I take another gulp, paying attention to the mix of flavors. Then I do the same with Lena's. Lena watches eagerly, fists clenched in excitement.
So, what you think? Come on, be honest.
I can't taste a single difference.
They're both good.
Sure, but which one's better?
Taking another sip of each, I try to detect anything that's different between them, but I can't. Fortunately, Aspen saves me. She looms behind Lena like a phantom.
Lena, don't you think maybe you should go check the croissants?
The croissant? She's gonna go make some croissant. I had forgotten about that meme, and then I don't know why it just came back to me the other night, and it's been killing me.
Nah, I already looked at them earlier. A couple of them were kind of schoolish, but I tried to massage them back into shape. Don't worry.
For once, Lena's the one cut off as Aspen jerks on her apron springs, and she flaps her wings to maintain her balance.
Why don't you go check on them again? Or maybe the muffins, if you haven't yet.
Fine. We all know Miho just didn't want to hurt your feelings anyway.
Yes, sure, that's totally what it is. I can't with her. Aspen releases her, and Lena walks off to the back of a cafe like an embarrassed cat, pretending it was her idea all along. After she disappears into the kitchen, Aspen sighs yet again.
I'm sorry about that.
It's fine. She seems nice.
That is certainly one way you could describe her.
She's like a walking tornado.
What I was trying to say earlier is that you can stay here if you want, but I won't be able to chat. Our first customers will be here any minute now.
That's okay. I'll probably go back to the library once I finish my drinks.
Yeah, because she got 2.
All right, I'll see you later then. And don't feel obligated to finish both if you don't want to.
I'm gonna try. Bye!
Like Lena, Aspen also retreats behind the counter and starts filling the display case with pastries. I wonder if any of them are the croissant Lena was talking about. Sure enough, it isn't long before the first customers start to show up. Aspen takes their orders with that fake nice voice she used when we first met. Already I've gotten more used to hearing her regular speaking voice instead. It's interesting to know that even normal humans like her still pretend to be other people sometimes. Oh boy, wait till she finds out about acting. I wonder why she feels she has to do that. So far, she's one of the nicest humans I've ever met. After I finish up my first coffee, I toss the cup away but hold on to the second. I'll drink it later or something. Aspen waves as I leave the Bell House and start making my way back to the library. I've had my fill of wandering around for at least a few days. If I'm gonna be bored, I may as well do it while I'm comfy. So true! Job or not, Aspen is definitely right about one thing. I really need to find something better to do with my time. Oh boy. Alright, we're going to play tennis with Lena. And I love the little icon art. This is really good. After a few hours of sitting around at the library, I'm bored enough to take Lena up on her offer to play tennis. The only problem is, I forgot to ask her where and when. So sometime in the afternoon, I go down to the Bell House, where an employee tells me both Aspen and Lena have left for the day. They give me directions to a place called Hataitai Park, which is where they say Lena mentioned before heading out. I follow their instructions and reach a big open area full of people on bikes, walking, or just sitting in the grass. I wander around looking for any sight of Lena or people playing tennis. Finally, I spot the courts and make my way over. Out of the dozen or so people who are playing, it isn't hard to find Lena when I get there.
Nice serve!
She runs back and forth, leaping and diving to hit the little green ball before it can touch the ground. She flaps her wings to keep from falling over when she does. I think that's very cute. Her partner, a tall boy with antlers on his head, looks exhausted. When he swings his racket, it looks like his arm might fall off at any second. When I get close enough, Lena notices and stops mid-dive.
Miho! You're late!
Now that she's distracted, her partner takes the opportunity to hurry away, collapsing into the grass to rest.
Sorry, I wasn't sure what time I should come by. Or where.
Oh, right. I guess I should have told you. In that case, good guess.
I don't bother telling her that I got help from one of her coworkers. Lena picks up a racket from nearby and offers it to
Ready
me.
play?
I guess so. I don't really know the rules, though.
Nah, it's fine. Me either. Just try to hit the ball, alright?
The most encouraging thing you can ever hear when someone is trying to teach you to play stuff or how to play something. It's like, I don't know the rules either. Okay.
Okay, I can do that.
I take my spot on the other side of the net, trying to imitate the way other people are standing.
Alright, here goes.
Lena drops the ball and then knocks it towards me. I watch it carefully, and when it gets close enough, I swing! The ball goes soaring way over her head and falls into the grass out of sight somewhere.
Maybe a little less oomph next time. Let's try it again.
She serves the ball, and this time I just barely hit it over the net. Lena dives for it like before and sends it sailing back to me. The more we play, the easier it gets. Both of us miss the ball or knock it into the net a lot, but it's not too bad. Finally, even Lena gets tired, and we take a break to drink some water.
How long have you played tennis?
Like, today or in my life?
In your life?
She thinks about it a bit, scrunching up her nose.
About a week.
Ah! I was half expecting her to say, today.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, how about you?
Literally today.
About half an hour, I guess.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. See? We're both trying new things.
The whole time we're talking, Lena keeps glancing away from me to watch the other players. I try to figure out what's so interesting, but can't.
Okay, break's over. Let's play some more.
We get back on the court and play for a little bit longer until the end of the hour. As everyone else starts to pack up and leave, I follow Lena, who puts away our equipment.
So, what'd you think? Did you have fun?
It was alright. I wouldn't mind doing it again, but I don't know if I'd want to play all the time. I can see why some people enjoy it, at least.
Being outside is nice, and it was a good way to burn off some energy.
That's good. They meet a few times a week if you want to come back.
Will you be here?
Not sure yet.
Even while cleaning up, she's still distracted by someone or something else. When the other players walk past us on their way out of the park, Lena turns her head to watch one of them.
Because we're planting trees here next time. Really exciting, right? If you want to help out, then come to me after.
I catch a snippet of conversation as the person Lena's watching, a dryad, goes by. Lena must hear too, because she instantly closes her eyes and puts her fingers against the sides of her head.
Planting trees. Planting trees.
She repeats the words to herself a few times, and then her eyes snap back open.
Okay, got it.
Got what?
What I'm doing next time. I'll have to start studying up tonight so that I'm ready.
Okay, if you say so.
I'm pretty lost, but maybe this is just how Lena is.
You should come too, if you're not doing anything. I'll tell Aspen to give you the details.
Sure, sounds good.
I'm not sure if I want to commit, especially since Lena probably won't even remember me the next time we see each other. But playing tennis wasn't so bad, so I should at least keep my options open.
Good. Alright, see you then, Miho.
See ya.
Waving goodbye, Lena heads off down one of the paths. I take a different one that leads me out of the park and back to the library for the rest of the day. With a tiny ding, the toast pops up and I load it onto the plate with the other slices. I bring the dish over to the
Thank you,
table.
Miho. Go ahead and put it by the butter.
Oops, sorry. Let me get my bag out of your way.
Once the table is set, the three of us sit. I've gotten more used to the routine at breakfast and know when to do things like pass the salt and pepper without being asked. Every morning so far we have the same thing, eggs and toast. But it's a lot tastier than convenience store food, and there are different spreads and fruits to change things up. Like usual, I'm the first one to finish eating, followed by Aspen, who stretches with a content sigh.
Breakfast was as superb as always. Thank you, Juliet.
It's my pleasure.
Two of them saying this as part of their routine, too. Usually Aspen would be getting up right now to leave for work, except this time she doesn't.
Don't you need to go, Aspen?
Is this your way of trying to get rid of me?
She peers at me from over the rim of her cup as she sips her coffee.
Nah, I haven't thought about that. I was just wondering.
Just a completely straightforward, nah, I haven't thought of trying to get rid of you. But now...
I'm not sure if I should be flattered. Anyway, I'm working a mid-shift today, so I don't have to go in until noon.
Will you be writing then?
Yes, I ought to. I'm about halfway through this draft, and I'm trying to finish it by the end of this month, so every minute helps.
Oh my, halfway already. That's excellent progress. I look forward to reading it when you're finished.
Don't give me too much credit, I still have to get there first, and you know how that's gone before.
All you can do is keep trying.
What are you writing?
A book. I've been working on it for a couple of years now, as long as I've been in Wellington.
Whoa. You're only halfway
shit.
done? How long is it gonna be?
Only halfway! I wish it was as easy as you think it is. It takes time to plan the story and prepare to write, and then, even after the drafting is done, you still have to edit it and fix it.
Yeah. I can never get past planning.
Of course, the more you write, the better you become at it. And so, sometimes you notice flaws in your story that you didn't catch before, so you have to go back or start over.
How do you ever get anything done then if you're always getting better? Don't you just have to finish it eventually?
Well, like I said, it's not that simple.
Aspen clears her throat.
Anyway, it's difficult to explain to someone who's never written anything. Believe me, any writer would tell you the same thing.
I glance over at Juliet, who is intently watching her tea as she stirs it. She's like, leave me out of this.
And you? Did you end up finding something to fill your time?
Oh, like a hobby. Maybe. I don't know yet.
Well, don't worry about it too much. It's supposed to be fun, not something you have to force yourself to do. Although I'm hardly one to talk, there are times where I want to do anything except write.
It's okay. At least you have something. Julia told me about movies, so I might try watching one of those. Have you ever seen a movie?
Have you ever seen a movie?
Once or twice, I'm sure.
God. This is why the first time I played this, I went the Aspen route, because she's just so dry about everything.
Actually, Miho, there was something I wanted to ask you.
What's that?
Well, how would you feel about helping out around the library as a part-time job? I'll pay you for your time, of course. It would give you something to do during the day, and it would be a great help to me.
Really? But I thought you didn't need any help running the library.
It's true that I don't need it. The honor system has served me well for the day-to-day services, and I'm kept informed of any troublemakers.
I wonder if the bats saw Miho, like, hiding behind the bookcase that first time.
But in addition to the kind assistance from Aspen in the mornings, I also have to reshelve books, maintain the check-in and check-out logs, and more. I don't mind those tasks at all. In fact, I find them rather relaxing. But without them, I'd be able to devote more time to other pursuits. If you're uninterested, you're more than welcome to decline. You needn't worry about being kicked out or disappointing me. I'm perfectly content either way.
Helping around here doesn't sound bad at all. Doesn't sound very exciting either, but it's not like I've found anything else I'd rather do instead. At least it's comfy in the library, and super convenient. Having some money again would be nice too. It'd be even better that there's no one trying to take it back.
Alright, I'll do it.
Juliet looks a little taken aback.
That was fast. Are you quite sure?
Yeah, I'll try it at least.
Of course. If you find it's not for you, then I won't be upset. Why don't you take the rest of the week for yourself, and you can begin on Monday?
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Excellent. I'll be looking forward to it then.
The two of them chat a little longer before Aspen leaves to go write, and Juliet goes to bed. I stay mostly quiet, thinking to myself, a job. That's something I never envisioned happening. I'm adding syllables again. That's not something I ever... Why can't I fucking speak today? A job. That's something I never envisioned having. I figured I'd just keep stealing until... Until what exactly? I'm not too sure. Until I find my person, I guess? That goal has been all I've focused on for my entire life. But now, spending time here in Wellington is actually making me plan things out in advance. Ugh, how dare it. When I stop and think about the future, it's a lot of emptiness and mystery. It makes me realize just how little I have to fall back on. That's why doing all these normal things like getting a job could be good for me. I don't know what might be useful someday. As for my person, I'm still always thinking about them and how I can find them. That part hasn't changed. For now, I'll just go with the flow and see where it takes me. Alright. So we've got two options. This is the little kid Tommy, and he had his little fabled buddy Gerby. You're a magic fox. You do not want a job. You do not want to pay taxes. True. Taxes suck, except when they go to me. I am the one who takes your taxes. So yeah, this one is the... Wait. Oh, it's just the little lookout area. We could go to the Botanical Garden, but we're going to go to the waterfront because we're going to learn how to catch fish. While trying to think of something to do, I suddenly remember the fishing lessons that Juliet told me about. I'm already pretty good at fishing as a fox, but it does have its downsides, like having to get all wet and ending up with scales in my teeth. I know some people go fishing for fun, so maybe I'd like it too. At the very least, it could be useful to know someday. Besides, it's not like I've got anything better to do. Down at the waterfront, there's a big crowd like always. The merchants' booths that Juliet pointed out to me have long lines and clusters of people in front of them. Right along the water, there are fishermen selling all kinds of fresh fish. The smell, mixed with the salty sea air, is making me hungry. I don't like the smell of, like, fishery kind of areas. Like, when I was a kid, we went to San Francisco, and we were at Fisherman's Wharf, which, you know, where they do a lot of the fishing, and the smell was horrendous. So, just since then, I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I wander over to the spot that Juliet pointed out to me. Today, there's half a dozen people with fishing rods in their hands, lines out in the water. They're all spaced apart, and behind them is a man who's giving instructions.
Hold on. Don't I know him?
Yeah, we talked to him on the mountain one day. I look closer, sure enough, it's the man I met on the mountaintop not too long ago, who taught me what a kiwi is. Oh yeah, she was just like, the fruit? And he's like, no, there's people and birds and fruit that are all kiwis. Because this is in New Zealand, but nobody sounds like they're from fucking New Zealand, except for, I think it was like Tommy's dad. He paces between the people fishing, adjusting their posture and giving them advice. There's another person helping him out, a younger guy who's untangling lines and preparing supplies. One of the fishermen waves at the instructor for help.
Hey, Mr. Kim, can you give me a hand?
Why did he have to sound like a pirate? Now I'm just imagining him with a hook hand, and he's trying to be silly.
Coming.
Mr. Kim practically skips over and shows the person how to send out their line.
I need some help too. Well, which bait should I use?
That depends on the fish. Let's take a look.
He bounces around between the group before he spots me and gives me a big hearty wave.
Hello there, miss. Here for a bit of fishing?
I was thinking about it.
You've certainly come to the right place. First time fishing?
With a rod, at least. I usually do it with my teeth.
Oh, I can't say I've ever tried that myself, but if you'd like to learn how to do things our way, I'd be glad to show you.
His voice, I don't know what it is with his voice, but I don't know, there's something wrong about it.
Sure, why not? I came all this way.
That's the spirit. Here, why don't you go ahead and stand here?
I take a spot on the pier and face the water. Mr. Kim goes through how to hold the rod, how to put bait on the hook, and finally how to cast. Once he's done explaining, he steps back to give me some space.
All right, now let's see what you've got.
Right, so I stand like this and put my hand here.
I do my best to copy everything he showed me, and then with a flick of my wrists, I cast my line out to the sea.
Perfect! Nice job. Oh, I forgot to ask for your name.
Miho.
Nice job, mijo. Keep it up and you'll be a master angler in no time.
How long does it take to catch one?
Well, now that depends on the fish. It could be minutes or it could be hours. I've been after the same fish for years.
Probably like some sort of super big fish.
Whoa, don't you ever go home?
She just accepted, like, nah, he's been here at this pier for years, hunting that fucking fish. He laughs, and I'm reminded of the first time we met, up on the mountain.
I certainly do. But I always come back. Patience is the most important virtue, other than maybe a bit of luck.
Well, I wouldn't call luck a virtue. It's luck. Mr. Kim goes to check on the others while I stand there waiting. It doesn't seem like anyone else is getting a bite, so at least it's not just me. Suddenly, one of the other fishers yells with excitement.
I got one! I got one!
Doesn't sound super enthused. They frantically start to reel in their catch. All of us gather around to watch.
Steady, steady.
They plant their feet firmly, reeling in with all their strength, but it's clear that the fish is fighting back.
Can you help?
Of course.
Whoa, that's a big fish. Mr. Kim also grabs the rod, and together the two of them manage to land their catch. Yeah, I haven't done this, like, any of the Mr. Kim side story at all, so this is new to me. Everyone, including myself, gasps as a fish breaks through the surface, its red scales shining in the sunlight. Mr. Kim lets go so the fisher can admire their prize.
Whoa! And isn't she beautiful? Congratulations.
My stomach rumbles just from watching. Unfortunately, after a few more minutes of waiting for my own fish, I still don't get any bites. Finally, it's time to pack up and head home. Mr. Kim catches me before I can leave the pier.
So, what'd you think, Miho? Does it beat the ways you've gone fishing before?
It was okay. I didn't catch anything in the end. But it was cool to watch you and that other person get one.
It's like that sometimes. You just have to keep trying. I hope we'll see you around again sometime.
Yeah, maybe. Thanks for showing me all that stuff.
In the end, it was just a lot of standing around. What he said about needing patience makes sense, but if I'm looking for something fun to do, I'm not sure if this was exciting enough. But it was kind of relaxing, and I do still think it would be useful to learn. Either way, I'm just glad I came and checked this place out. Now to go see if Juliet keeps any seafood in the fridge at the library. Now she got the munchies. Once we finish eating breakfast, Juliet drums her fingers on the table, looking thoughtful.
Miho, it occurred to me that perhaps I should give you the proper tour of the library now. That way, you have the weekend to get better acquainted with it if you need.
Tour? I think I've seen everything, right?
Pardon. I meant of the books themselves. Where to find each genre and what they are.
Does Juliet know she can't read?
Oh, right. Sure.
I hadn't really thought about the books. To me, they're all the same, but I guess that wouldn't be true for everyone else. Right now, I have the place memorized in the same way you'd memorize a battlefield. What places are out of sight, how to get in and out, and anything else that might be useful. I don't think there are many battles that happen in here, so Juliet's tour would probably be more helpful.
If you'd like, I can show you a couple of my favorite books. That way, if anyone asks for a recommendation, you could at least make something up.
That'd be great.
Anything that makes it easier for me to make things up is fine by me. The three of us head to the entrance.
Let's start with the basics, shall we? As you know, this is the reference desk.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
It's where books are checked in and out, and where anyone who needs help can find it.
What kind of help do people ask for?
Usually, they need assistance finding a specific book. Or perhaps they need a recommendation for what to read next, as Aspen mentioned.
Hope they like the same books as her then.
Nah.
Don't worry, I'll think of some that are more popular. Not my real favorites, which most people would be too bored to finish.
Juliet leads us to the actual rows of shelves. I stare down the books as I pass by, committing as many details to memory as I can. Even if I can't read the words, I can try to remember the colors and shapes and covers.
Over here is the children's section. It's got lots of picture books and beginner reader books. The shelves are shorter too, so that children can reach them more easily.
Oh, I've seen some of those around. Are adults allowed to read them too?
Of course. Parents read to their kids quite often.
Some people read them for fun, too. You gain so much more appreciation for the illustrations once you're older.
Just unapologetically going and reading, like, little children's picture books. Fuck yeah. We head over to another area.
This is the non-fiction section. It's for books about things that are true, rather than made-up stories.
I rarely visit this section, personally.
Mood. In a shady corner near Aspen's favorite table, Juliet taps a small sign hanging on one of the shelves.
This is the mystery section. Stories about detectives, murders, and other such subjects live here.
I do admire mystery writers. It's difficult to come up with a compelling one.
We go around the whole library like this, Juliet and Aspen pointing out all the other sections. Finally, we come to a stop back at the desk where we started.
I do believe that's everything. Do you feel like you have a good understanding now?
It's hard to keep them all straight. Fantasy, history, cookbooks, biographies. I think I've got most of it, though.
By the end, my head feels like it's spinning, and I know that I won't be able to remember everything as hard as I try. But I do feel like I've gotten a better feeling for the place. At the very least, I could show someone where to find the restrooms.
It is a lot to take in. Don't worry if you can't memorize it all right away. There's plenty of time to learn.
Even I forget where things are sometimes, and I've spent more time here than at my own apartment.
Goddamn. Actually, no. We'll get to see her apartment later, and it's like, yeah, no fucking wonder you spend more time everywhere else.
Thanks! It might take me a while, but I'll get it eventually.
I know you will. I have the utmost confidence in you.
If I'm gonna do this, I may as well try my best. Maybe something good will come from it. And if not, I can always just leave.
Want me to show you the books I was thinking of now?
Sure.
I'll be off to bed myself then. Have a lovely day, you two.
Sleep well.
Night.
Juliet heads upstairs while Aspen and I go back to the shelves.
To start with,
She leads the way to the fiction section, which is easy to remember since it's the biggest. Aspen runs a finger across the books as we move down an aisle. I see her scanning the titles before she stops and taps the spine of one.
here we are, Wuthering Heights. I just returned this one recently after finishing my annual reread. It's a very tragic love story. The main character is rather terrible, I must confess, and there's an awful lot of death. But despite all that, it's beautiful.
That description definitely isn't what I was expecting.
People really like to read that stuff?
Sometimes, yes. You read to experience all kinds of different feelings. Besides, I think there's a kind of sad beauty to doomed romances like that. It really does put life in perspective.
And this kind of general sentiment about stories is like why I wanted to start doing stuff like visual novels and stuff, because I'm like, there's a lot of stories I think that deserve more spotlight that people just kind of don't consider, and I wanna show people that they're good too.
If you say so.
You don't have to take my word for it. I'm sure you'll see for yourself once you start working here. In the meantime...
I follow Aspen to the other side of the room, where there are a couple of smaller racks of books near the corner.
Do you enjoy poetry?
You mean like races and stuff? Guess they're okay.
It rhymes. It's like pottery.
That's pottery. Poetry is... prose. Words in their best order. Poetry, the best words in the best order. Samuel Coleridge said that. He was a poet, but he's not the one I have in mind. I'll show you what he meant.
The book she selects looks old. Very old. It has a green cover that's rough like a lizard's skin, with the letters being faded gold.
Alfred Lord Tennyson is one of the most famous poets to have existed. I simply adore his work. Here, this is from The Lady of Shalott. Ahem.
She clears her throat again, even though it's only been a few seconds since the last time.
Willows whiten, aspens shiver. The sunbeam showers break and quiver. In the stream that runneth ever, by the island in the river, flowing down to Camelot.
She said her name. I barely heard past the first line.
Aspens, like your name. Does it come from this poem?
If only. Aspens are a type of tree. Mum loves them. More than she likes poetry, for sure. I do wish I'd been named after it, though.
She reads me the rest of it, which ends up being pretty long. It's kind of hard to follow, but imagining the fields and towers that she talks about is nice. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've been to Camelot before. Some of the details in the poem aren't quite right. And apparently Camelot is also real now. Anyway, even if I don't really understand the poem, it's nice to listen to Aspen reading it. Plus, there's no way I'll forget what that book looks like.
Alright, last one. I thought 3 would be enough to start, but you can always ask me for more recommendations if you need. I could suggest books until lunch, if I didn't stop myself.
I might someday. Even though I lived in the library for a few days now, I never really knew how many different books there were out there before.
Oh, believe me, this library isn't even a fraction of what exists. It's not that big for a library, in fact, just huge for a personal collection, which is really what it is.
How many books have you read?
I couldn't even guess. Definitely hundreds. Maybe thousands? I've never tried counting, but perhaps I should now that you mention it. It would be nice to look back on someday. Okay, here we are.
The book she takes me to is laid out flat on an end table where more people can see it, rather than on the shelf.
Everyone knows the story of Peter Pan, the boy who never grows up and can fly.
Everyone except me.
Now you do too. Peter has a darling fairy friend named Tinkerbell, and he fights the dastardly pirate Captain Hook. Peter leads a group of boys called the Lost Boys, and they cause all sorts of trouble for Neverland, where they all live.
What do you mean he never grows up?
In Neverland, you never get older. So he stays a young boy for his whole life. Even when the girl he loves, Wendy, grows up and gets married, and someday dies.
You sure do like sad stories, huh?
I suppose I do. It's as Peter Pan himself says, to die would be an awfully big adventure. Still, it's not like I only like sad things. Romance is my favorite genre, and not just the tragic kind.
I sit down in one of the chairs, since it seems like Aspen wants to have a conversation. May as well get comfy. Aspen sits down too, fidgeting with the strap of her purse.
Why is it your favorite?
Why? Well,
Her hands stop moving while she thinks.
In a book, things can be much more perfect than in real life. A moonlit balcony all alone, or a sunset kiss on the seashore. Real life is considerably messier.
Ain't that the truth?
I've never been in love before, although I think it sounds quite nice. As I said earlier, people read to feel things. So until that time, living vicariously through other stories is enough. What about you?
What about me?
Do you ever hope to fall in love? I assume you haven't been in love before, but maybe I'm wrong.
Nah, I haven't. I like being on my own.
Do you think maybe that would change if you met the right person?
Thank God Miho doesn't know anything about, like, people and flirting and stuff. because Aspen is being so obvious here. Maybe that would change if you met the right person, doing the thing where she like presses her index fingers together.
I don't know. Maybe. I haven't thought about it much. Since everyone forgets me, there's never been a reason for me to care.
I suppose that's reasonable. Still, that must be... Well, it doesn't matter. Do you ever watch movies? Or TV? Just about everything has a love story in it nowadays, not just books.
Nah, not in a long time.
How long?
She sure asks a lot of questions, and they jump around topics so much too. I don't really mind, but I have to try hard even to remember the answers. All the places I've seen and days I've spent have mostly blurred together in my head.
I'm not sure. A few years? There was a really big crowd around a window, so I wanted to see what they were all looking at.
And? What was it?
I don't know what it was. I didn't speak the language there yet, and I didn't memorize the sounds. But on TV, there were these people in white suits bouncing around, and the people watching seemed really excited by it.
The fucking moon landing.
Did the people on TV... Do you remember by chance if the place they were hopping around looked like a desert, all rocky and empty?
Now that you mention it, yeah. How did you know?
Only the most significant televised event ever. She dashes a hand to her forehead in disbelief.
That was the moon landing.
No, I'm pretty sure I'd remember if the moon landed.
The delivery and the timing was perfect.
Not like that, silly. It was when humans went to the moon for the first time.
Wait, they did?
Yes, and you saw it happen, apparently.
They must have had help from the Fableds' magic, right?
No, not this time. It was pure human ingenuity.
Whoa.
You look surprised.
I am. I didn't know humans could do something like that.
Well, not just any human. It took a lot of work from a lot of people. It still does to this day. I can't believe you got to watch it live, though. What was it like?
Magic is for losers. We out here sciencing.
Had a really good lunch that day. Everyone was so distracted that I was able to sneak into a restaurant that usually would have caught me.
She's like, I don't fucking know about what was on the TV. I just know that everyone is distracted and I got an easy lunch. She shakes her head.
That's all you can remember.
It was some kind of pasta dish with a white sauce and lots of cheese.
I meant about... Oh, never mind. Anyway, I was just going to suggest asking Juliet about putting a TV in your room. Surely there's one in this place somewhere. It would give you something to do, at least. And you don't have to be able to read to enjoy the story of a good show or movie.
Yeah, I might. I definitely need something to do other than walk around town all day.
Turn the fox into a couch potato.
Let me know if you do. I'll bring over some movies for you to borrow. If I can't recommend books to you, at least I can do that.
Will do. I don't know where else I'd start anyway.
After checking her phone, Aspen stands back up.
I'll be more than happy whenever you ask. For now, not to be rude, but I'm going to go write for a little while. I'm working on the last couple chapters of this book before I'm finished, and I want to be done with it as fast as I can.
Oh, sure. Good luck.
To tell the truth, I'm always a bit relieved when someone else ends the conversation for me. I never know how to do it for myself. You just do the Commander Shepard. I should go. Oh god, yes. I should go. God, don't they do a bit about that in the Citadel DLC for Mass Effect 3? God, I want to play those games again. I wave goodbye as Aspen goes off to her table by the window, pen in hand. Within moments, she's hunched over her notebook, writing. Oh, time to hang out with Lena. Since I don't have anything better to do, I decide to head back to the park to see Lena. Aspen told me where and when I could find her, although we both know that Lena won't have any idea who I am. Making sure that I see Aspen and Juliet every day is hard enough as it is. Although I like Lena, I don't think I could put in the effort to have her remember me too. Maybe if she started coming by the library in the mornings like Aspen does, although I'm pretty sure that's the last thing Aspen would ever want to happen. God, putting up with Lena first thing in the morning, I would die. I go back to the park where we played tennis and wander around searching for Lena. It takes a bit longer since I'm not looking for something as obvious as a tennis court, but I finally find her in a group of people near some trees. All of them, including her, have shovels in their hands and are working on digging holes. Finally, something I'm good at. Although compared to tennis, it looks more like a punishment than a hobby. I walk over to Lena, who's barely made a dent in the ground. She waves when she sees me, but not in a familiar way.
Hi there. Here to volunteer?
Maybe? Volunteer for what?
To save the planet, duh! What does it look like we're doing?
Digging in the dirt?
Yes, exactly that.
Exactly! We're planting new trees to, help beautify the city of Wellington by promoting natural resources. I think.
I think. She's trying. She says the second part like she's reading off a label or sign.
If you want to help out, go talk to Cyrus. He'll get you all set up.
Lena points over at someone who I sort of recognize, the Dryad that Lena was watching when we played tennis. Since I'm here, I may as well give it a shot, so I follow her instructions and walk over.
Hi there. I'm here to help out.
Welcome aboard. I'm Cyrus. Here's a sapling and a shovel.
Cyrus holds out a shovel in one hand and a small bucket with a tree in the other. I take them, doing my best to not drop the sapling.
Okay. I'm Miho. What do we do now?
First you dig, then you plant. Then you do that over and over until you get bored and go home.
That sounds easy enough.
Everyone says that at first. Good luck.
Yeah, you know what it's like digging holes? That shit is tiring. He starts to walk away, but then pauses.
Hey, quick question. Are you friends with that girl over there? The one with the wings?
Lena? Sort of.
Can you let me know if she... Actually, never mind. Forget it.
They're both into each other, and they're both too scared to say anything, or too dumb to realize that the other likes them too. Possibly both.
Let me know if you need any help.
This time, he really does leave, walking around to check the progress everyone else is making. Now that I'm all set up, I take the things he gave me and go back to where Lena is.
Good to go? Since you're new too, let's have a race. We can see who plants more trees by the end.
Before I can respond or even think about it, Lena starts furiously hacking at the ground. Dirt flies like when I was building my den. I watch her for a second and then start on my own. I don't really want to compete with Lena, so I go at my own pace. It's a little awkward. I could do this in seconds as a fox, but using a shovel feels strange and inefficient. Muscles I didn't even know I have are starting to feel sore. Mood of moods. Me when I do, like, one physically demanding task a week. Only a few minutes later, Lena sprawls on the ground in exhaustion. She's only halfway done at best.
I didn't think it'd be so hard to dig a hole.
I used to dig holes for work. And then eventually, they taught me how to use the excavator. Can you imagine that? My dumb ass driving an excavator? While she's lying there, Cyrus comes around on one of his inspections. He stops and examines both of our handiwork.
Nice job, Miho. You're a natural. Lena? Good effort.
Lena leaps to her feet, using her wings to propel herself into a standing position. God, that sounds so handy, doesn't it?
I wasn't taking a break. I was, testing the ground to see if it might be softer over here. Look, this one will be even better.
Before our eyes, Lena starts to attack the ground again, even faster than when she started racing me. Dirt sails over our heads as she tosses it away from herself, with some of it falling onto Cyrus's head. He looks strangely resigned.
Just don't hurt yourself, okay? I don't want to have to carry someone to the hospital again.
Carrie?
And now she's considering it.
I mean, again?
Lena asks questions without stopping her work.
It's a long story. Anyway, just be careful.
As he begins to leave, Cyrus puts a hand on my shoulder. I tense up, but manage to not shake it off.
Keep an eye on her, would you?
I nod and Cyrus walks away. As soon as he's out of earshot, Lena comes to a halt.
Miho, right? I need you to break my arm.
No, stop that.
You... what?
Yeah, maybe that's a bit much. Maybe just a finger would be enough.
Stop.
Why would you want to do that?
Wait, she's like part bird, so does she have like really thin, hollow bird bones? Like, wouldn't that make her really fragile? If you cough on her wrong, she'd just break.
Oh, you're right! A broken leg would make more sense.
She still hasn't caught on yet. I'm not entirely sure we're having the same conversation. I decide to try a different approach.
So, are you and Cyrus friends or something?
Friends? Kind of. Unfortunately.
Oh.
You don't want to be friends?
I want to be more than that!
For the first time ever, Lena looks around after speaking, like she's worried someone might have heard her.
Like, best friends?
Ha!
More than that! Like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Aww.
Oh. How's that going?
She sighs and her wings droop.
Well, you just saw pretty much. I know Cyrus from ballet, but I quit ballet, so I only get to see him at other stuff like this. But he's always trying something new every week, so I do too. But it's kind of hard to talk to him, especially when he's so busy. When I heard he was gonna come plant trees, I had no idea he'd be in charge.
You had no idea that the Dryad guy you're crushing on was gonna be the one in charge of planting trees. I really gotta stop expecting so much out of Lena.
So I can't let him think I'm a slacker or bad at tennis. Not when he already thinks I'm a quitter.
I think I get it.
One thing I know for sure is that it sounds complicated. Good luck, Lena! The two of us go back to shoveling dirt, and eventually we go deep enough that we can plant the sapling Cyrus gave us. I carefully set mine in the ground and then cover it back up the same way I've seen other people doing. When it's time to wrap up, Cyrus makes one last trip around, collecting shovels and handing out water bottles. When he reaches us, he nods approvingly.
Good work, both of you.
Thanks.
I gulp down the water he gives me in just a few swigs.
Yeah, thanks.
On the other hand, Lena still seems a little dejected. She doesn't even try to talk to Cyrus before he leaves. When the two of us part ways, she just gives me a half-hearted wave.
See you later.
Yeah, bye.
Aw, Lena. I'm not even sure what she'll be doing next time, much less when or where. Maybe Aspen will tell me about it again. Digging holes wasn't exactly something I'd want to do a second time, but planting a tree was satisfying. And I'm kind of curious to see how things go with Lena and Cyrus, if they go at all. Lena's kind of a lot, as Aspen says, but she's nice. I hope everything works out for her, at least. Yeah, she's got a lot, maybe too much energy. But she's a good bird. Looking around, I notice that I'm the only one left, so I toss my empty bottle in a recycling bin and start making my way back. Whoa. Going fishing. I decide to give the fishing another try. Last time wasn't very successful, but maybe I'll have more luck today. When I get to the fishing spot, I see a few familiar faces. Mr. Kim is there, of course, dancing around between the students. This time, he notices me right away.
Hello, miss. Is that a new face I spy?
Yep, I wanted to do some fishing today.
That's the kind of attitude I like to see. Let's get you started.
You know, one funny way to abuse this would to be, like, that power, would to be, what's it called? Like, free trial sort of thing. It's just like, oh yeah, you know, don't have to pay for today. It's a free thing for beginners. And then you just keep showing up and you never have to pay. I take a spot on the pier while he brings me the same equipment as last time.
All right, let's start with the basics. Do you know how to set up your line?
I think so.
It didn't seem that difficult last time, but when I try to recreate what I did before, I end up getting a little confused.
Okay, so put the worm on the string. Oh, wait, no, the hook. The hook goes on the string, and then... Oh, I messed it up.
The string has gotten all tangled on itself. No self-respecting fish is going to be interested in that. That's... Tangling fishing line is like the easiest thing to do.
Not to worry.
Ah! Oh god, he's got terrible dad puns. Oh. Okay, no, I love Mr. Kim. His voice is still kind of weird, but I like the character. He laughs at his own joke as he comes over and quickly undoes the knot.
Okay, let's try again.
It takes some time, but eventually I'm ready. Fortunately, I remember this next part better. I stand like he showed me, hold the rod like he showed me, and let the line fly. I watch excitedly as it sails overhead and splashes into the water.
Excellent job. Why, if I didn't know any better, I think I taught you myself.
Haha! I just smile in response. With my problem solved, Mr. Kim goes off to assist someone else while I turn my attention back to the sea.
Here, fishy fishy.
I'm ready. No fish will be getting away from me today. The instant I feel a tug, I'll be reeling it in, just like that other person when I came here before. Just gotta wait. And wait. And wait.
Nothing's biting.
It happens.
Mr. Kim pops up seemingly out of nowhere.
Just give the fish some time. You'd be shy too if someone started offering you a meal out of nowhere.
Well, he's got me there. I nod and keep waiting, but I can feel the boredom sinking in. I was willing to give fishing a second chance, but if it's just going to be like this every time, then I probably won't be coming back. Suddenly, I feel the fishing pole jerk in my hands. It takes me by surprise and I almost let go, but manage to hold on tight.
Oh, I think something's biting.
Reel it in! You can do it!
Right, reel it in. To do that, my head is spinning as I try to remember what to do. Meanwhile, the reel is spinning as the fish, my fish, tries to get away. It smacks my hand, jolting my memory.
Oh, yeah.
I grab it and start turning it the other way, pulling the rod towards myself as I do. I can feel the fish, still out of sight, struggling against me.
Not today.
All the time I spent waiting has made me extra determined. I plant my feet firmly and keep reeling. Gradually, the line gets tighter and tighter until eventually the fish breaks through the water, dangling on the other end.
I did it!
You did it!
I bring the fish in to where I can see it more closely. It's not as big as the fish I watched get caught last time, but it's not tiny either. Just down the pier, someone else is reeling in a catch too.
So, what are you gonna do with it?
Huh? What do you mean?
Maybe he's asking how I plan to cook it?
Will you be keeping it or letting it go?
Let it go? I just worked hard to catch it.
Mr. Kim laughs. Behind him, the person who just caught something takes a picture of their prize and then tosses it back in the water. Oh great. Guys with pictures of them holding fish. Nice.
Why did they do that?
Well, everyone has to eat. That's just part of life, and I love a good fish dinner as much as anyone. But some just enjoy the sport and the struggle, and release the little guy once he's been defeated.
I look at the fish I caught, its tail flapping gently. There's a mark on its mouth that doesn't look natural.
What's that?
I point to it so Mr. Kim can see. He only has to glance at it.
Looks like it isn't this fellow's first time being caught. That is a battle scar.
A scar. So he's been caught before and either got away or was released. It's up to me to decide if his luck runs out or not. Sighing, I unhook the fish and then toss it back into the water, where it instantly swims down and out of sight.
Try to be more careful next time.
If I was hungry, it'd be a different story. But my belly is full and Juliet just went shopping, so there's plenty of food at home. So I figured I may as well let this one go. Walking up beside me, Mr. Kim looks out at the sea.
You know, maybe that kindness will come back to you someday. I'm sure the fish appreciates it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how useful it is to have a fish owe me a favor, but I know what Mr. Kim means. I hand him back the fishing pole and box of lures that he gave me.
Done for the day?
Yeah, now that I've gotten to see what it's like.
Well, if you decide to join us again, the fish will be here. And so will I.
Maybe I will too. Thanks for the help.
Of course, of course. The pleasure is all mine. Have a good day, miss.
I wave and head back up the pier. After another day spent entertaining myself around town, I decide to take Aspen's advice and ask Juliet about a TV. The light is on in Juliet's study, meaning she's there. I knock on the door and get an instant response.
Come in.
The study hasn't changed at all since I was here a couple of days ago, except that there aren't any bats in the corner this time. Just me and her.
Hi.
Good evening, Miho. What brings you here?
I'm a bit worried about how to do this. Usually I just take something I want. Lately I've started saying yes when people offer me things, but just going in and asking for something? Well, I'll have to do it sometime.
I had a question. Yesterday, Aspen said I should ask about getting a TV in my room. That way, I'd have something to do.
Oh, that is a good idea. I take it today wasn't particularly exciting either.
She caught a fish!
Not really. It was fine. Nothing bad happened. I'm just...
I don't want to say I'm bored. What if she thinks I'm blaming her? Or ungrateful? I bite my lip, trying to think of a better way to put it, but she seems to read my mind.
Bored? It's alright, you can say it. An empty room would be boring for anyone. I believe there should be a television somewhere around. Let's take a look.
I follow behind her out of the office. Juliet takes me down one of the hallways I've never been down, and where I don't think I've ever seen the lights turned on. We pass by several doors.
What are all these rooms?
They've been all kinds of things over the years. Bedrooms, studies, playrooms. But now they're mostly just storage.
We stop in front of one door, indistinguishable from the rest.
I believe this is the one.
It's not locked. Juliet just opens it normally. Inside is dark and dusty. The window is covered with heavy curtains that don't let any light in. In other words, what you'd expect from a vampire's house. Listen, don't knock blackout curtains. That shit is magic. There's tons of junk leaning against the walls, like some faded bicycles and a dresser that's missing a drawer.
Ah, there it is.
Juliet points and I see what she's looking at. There's a TV in one corner with its cords wrapped around itself in a thick blanket of dust. We both walk over and I wipe some of the dust away. It immediately blows into my face. You should have just left it, get a wet paper towel, do that. Getting dust in your face is the worst. Aw, cute sneeze.
Miho, are you alright?
Oh. Still, I back a few steps away.
As you can tell, it's been a while since I've come in here.
Much more carefully than me, Juliet cleans off the TV.
I believe it should still work, though.
Okay, I can move it to my room then.
It's alright. I can take it.
Juliet effortlessly lifts the TV up and begins to carry it to my room. It's vampire strength. Fucking what do you expect?
Whoa.
I know from plenty of experiences that TVs aren't exactly easy to lift.
I need to remind myself to never piss her off.
I hurry after her, arriving at my room just as she sets the TV down in the corner and plugs it in.
Let's see.
She presses the power button, and with a soft buzz, it comes to life.
It works!
Indeed. I'm relieved. Let me try to remember how to use it.
It's kind of slow, but she manages to explain all the different buttons and what they do and how to use the remote. It doesn't seem that complicated, but also I never learned how to do it either. Once we make sure it's not going to die or anything, Juliet leaves me on my own with it. I change through all the channels, getting an idea for what there is. There are some channels with cartoons, which I know are meant for kids. Not all of them! There are some shows with real people in them, but they don't make much sense to me. Maybe if I watch them from the beginning. There are also plenty of ads. I recognize more products than I do shows. And that probably has more to do with my lifestyle than anything else, though. Even flipping through stations constantly, I do find myself having much more fun than if I was just napping or walking around. I see why some humans do this all day. Eventually, I go back to one of the cartoon channels. Even if they're for kids, they're easier to follow along with. I pick one and leave it running, climbing into bed to watch. I end up spending a few hours watching until I fall asleep that night. Having something else to follow along with and think about is a nice distraction from having my own doubts and worries creep up on me. If this is what a normal life is like, then maybe it's something I could get used to after all. Oh boy, Lena time. During a conversation with Aspen, she told me about what Lena's next adventure would be, an outdoor painting class. When that time rolls around, I decide to go check it out. Just like the other activities I've tried with Lena, it'll be happening in the park. When I arrive, I don't even have to look around. The class is right next to the entrance. The group is bigger than the ones for tennis and tree planting. Everyone has a big canvas and a stand in front of them, and there are a bunch of paints and brushes in the middle. Lena's easy to find like always, and I see Cyrus on the other side of the crowd away from her. It seems like he's not the one in charge today. A friendly person in a paint-stained apron sees me arrive and helps me choose a canvas and some art supplies, and then sends me to find a spot. Naturally, I head over to where Lena is.
Hey, mind if I set up here?
Oh, sure. Are you new here?
Yeah, this is my first time painting.
Me too. Wanna have a
Nope, can't race painting.
Actually, maybe you shouldn't race when you're painting.
Well, there are people that do speed draws, but like, you know, not a lot. I take a peek at what Lena's been working on. It doesn't seem like there's a particular topic, so everyone's painting is different. Lena's painting is a picture of a young swan with a pink flower on its head. It's surprisingly great.
This is amazing for your first time.
You think so? I mean, of course it is.
Fucking dork.
What are you gonna paint?
I don't know yet. Let's see.
There are a bunch of different sized brushes and a variety of colors. Having so many options to choose from makes it harder, not easier, to decide. Maybe I should go for something simple, like a tree. Choosing a brush and a shade of brown, I get to work.
Alright everyone, warm-up's over. Go ahead and find a partner. We're going to work on portraits today.
No one yawned! Why am I yawning? My tree is mostly done by now. It's not very detailed, and it doesn't look like any tree I've ever seen in real life, but at least I can tell what it's supposed to be. When the instructor says to choose a partner, I instinctively turn to Lena, preparing to ask her. But of course, she's looking over in Cyrus's direction. I sigh to myself.
You should go ask him before he ends up with someone else.
It'll mean I'll have to partner up with a stranger, but as far as Lena's concerned, she and I are already strangers, so it shouldn't make that much of a difference. Lena jumps in shock.
Whoa, are you a mind reader?
Something like that.
That's so cool. You're right, though. But what if he says no?
The more time you spend worrying about it, the less time you have to actually, ask.
Then he says no, I guess. Nothing would have changed, right?
She taps her chin.
You know, you kind of remind me of someone I work with. Anyway, wish me luck.
Good luck.
She's spending too much time with Aspen. I watch as Lena goes up to Cyrus and talks to him, too far away for me to hear. I guess it must work out because they soon set up their canvases facing each other. Aww. Unfortunately, watching them means that I missed out on my chance to find a partner. When I look around, everyone else is matched up with someone. That's more than fine with me, but unfortunately, the instructor comes over and invites me to partner up with her, which I grudgingly accept. For the next little while, I struggle to make something that resembles the woman across from me. This would be a lot easier if she looked like a tree. After 10 or 15 minutes, she claps her hands to get everyone's attention.
Time to change things up. Show your partners what you made, and then go find a new partner.
While everyone gets to that, she brings her canvas over to show me.
Whoa.
It's definitely me. My tail is fluffier in real life, and my ears aren't that big, but I can still recognize myself.
Mine's not even close to that good.
I turn around the canvas so she can see the results. Compared to the painting she made, I'm kind of embarrassed to share. Still, she smiles at it.
I think it's lovely. Painting is like anything else. The more you do it, the more you improve. And I've been doing it for a long time. We all have to start somewhere, though.
The moment the instructor and I are done talking, someone taps me on the shoulder. I turn around to see Lena.
Hey, let's be partners.
Sure.
Secretly, I think to myself about how I'm getting paired up with another good artist. The instructor blows a whistle to signal for the start, and Lena and I both get to work.
So, how'd it go?
How'd what go?
I know she can't have forgotten me that quickly.
Talking to Cyrus.
Oh, that.
Using a few shades of pink and white, I managed to paint something that looks passably close to Lena's clothes. If I squint a little, at least.
I got too nervous to really say much, so we just painted each other until it was time to switch.
In the middle of a brushstroke, Lena suddenly drops her brush in horror.
Oh no, what if he thinks I'm boring?
The most awful thing Lena could imagine. Being boring.
I don't think anyone could think that about you.
Yeah, but what if he does? This is not good.
Leaving the paintbrush in the grass, Lena closes her eyes and puts her fingers to the sides of her head like she did back at tennis. She must do that for at least a minute while I keep working on my painting. It looks more like Lena than my last one looked like the painting instructor, but I already know her wings are going to give me trouble.
Okay, got it. I need you to do me a favor.
What is it?
When we change partners again, I need you to go partner up with Cyrus, and then you can ask him what he thinks about me.
This is like high school shit, but it's cute.
Don't just straight up ask him though, that'd be too obvious. Try to see if you can get him to say it without saying it.
Say it without saying it?
Yeah, you know, like,
She makes a few gestures that remind me of charades, but I have no idea what she's trying to say.
Okay, I'll try.
Thanks, I owe you one.
I'm not even motivated by that, because it's not like she'll remember long enough for me to ever cash it in. I just want to see what happens.
All right, new partners. This'll be the last time.
Here, this is my painting of you. It's better than the last one.
It still isn't great, but I like the way some parts of it turned out.
Ooh, I look great.
Looking down at her own canvas, Lena frowns.
I, kind of forgot to paint you.
Amazing.
So, I guess I owe you two things.
That's fine.
Cool. Okay, hurry, before someone else takes him.
I walk over to Cyrus as fast as I can without being self-conscious about it. Fortunately, he was distracted with something himself, so he's still on his own.
Hey, wanna be partners?
Alright. I'm sure it's a total coincidence you were just talking with Lena, right?
Not at all.
I appreciate the honesty. Anyway, let's get started.
Both of us set up our canvases. I feel a little more in my comfort zone painting Cyrus. At the same time, I try to think of how to do what Lena asked.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
Uh-oh.
He's just like, oh fuck, now what?
I mean, what is it?
There's something that I want to ask Lena, but I don't know how she'll take it.
Just do it!
We've known each other for a bit, but that's why I'm worried. I mean, I kind of know her feelings, but not that well. So, and maybe don't ask her this outright. Maybe you can try to see how she feels by, like...
He makes some vague hand gesture that eventually turns into a shrug.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't.
Anyway, what I want to know is...
Alright, that's it. Time to show 'em off.
I rub my ears to recover from the sound before waiting for Cyrus to continue. Yeah, and imagine having like a really nice, calm, like painting session, and then someone blows a fucking whistle. Why?
Actually, never mind. It was dumb anyway. Here's what I made. Ta-da!
Cyrus spins his canvas around to reveal...
Oh, phew.
I can't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He's just as bad at painting as I am. I show him my equally unimpressive work. It's messy and scattered.
Nice job. You really captured the way I feel inside.
Cyrus is so good. I want to press him on what he was about to say because this is the second time he's almost asked me about Lena and then changed his mind. Before I can ask, though, Lena herself comes hurrying over, carrying her canvas. She walks up and shoves it into Cyrus's hands before he can even react.
I made this for you so you'd have okay, bye!
Oh, you sweet, sweet bean. Immediately, she zips off back the way she came. He holds the portrait out at arm's length where he can see it. I move behind him to get a good view as well. Just like Lena's picture of the swan, her picture of Cyrus is really good. It shows him looking thoughtful as he works on his own painting, biting his lip in concentration. There's a lot of detail in his eyes and face, and on the leafy vein that runs up his neck.
Whoa. This is...
Really good?
yeah.
The two of us look around to try and find Lena, but she's nowhere to be seen. She must have left right away. Or she's hiding somewhere.
What was it you wanted me to ask her?
Cyrus just shakes his head, still looking at the painting.
It's fine. I need to ask her myself.
Thank you! All of us, minus Lena, help the instructor clean up everything, and some people taking home their portraits and others tossing them. Cyrus and I say goodbye to each other, but we never talk anymore about Lena. Still, even if it's for a while before we hang out again, I have a feeling I haven't heard the last of this. Oh boy, more fishing. Let's see if we can catch something bigger this time. Feeling bored, I head down to the waterfront and Mr. Kim's fishing lessons. This will be the third time that I've gone. I was prepared to give up last time, but actually catching a fish was a lot more satisfying than I thought it would be. I'm sure I'll keep doing it in the future, too. I guess that just makes it one of my hobbies at this point. At the very least, it's been better than just wandering around town. When I get there, I'm surprised to find the fishing spot is empty, other than Mr. Kim himself. He's sitting in a folding chair with a sandwich in one hand and a book in the other. He sets down both as he notices me arriving.
Hey there, miss. Something I can help you with?
Oh, I was here to go fishing, but it doesn't look like anyone else is here.
If you're looking for a lesson, then I'm afraid the pool's closed. Which is to say,
Oh,
the
excuse-
next one doesn't start for a couple of hours.
Hold on. Depending on when you were born, some people in the chat may not get it. But hearing anyone say pool's closed is always going to make me fucking laugh. If you need, or if you don't know what that means, Google is your friend. Actually, no, YouTube is your friend. Go YouTube pools closed and see what happened. God, that must have been 15 years ago, if not more. Ugh. Anyway.
But if you just want to try your luck with the ocean, you're more than welcome to borrow a rod.
Sure. Thanks.
Now that I know what to do, I don't really need Mr. Kim to walk me through it each time. I should be fine on my own. I attach a lure and then cast my line out into the water.
I hope I don't catch the same fish as last time.
Since there's not much else to do, I look out at the sea while I wait. It's been a long time since I've been on a ship, or even a boat. A long time ago, they were the best way to get around. But ever since there started being airships going all over the world, I sneak onto those instead. While I'm standing there reflecting, Mr. Kim comes up beside me.
No bites yet?
Nope, nothing.
Maybe the fish all went out to eat.
Like usual, he takes a moment to laugh at his own joke, as he should.
That's fine. I had to wait even longer than this last time.
That's the right attitude to have. They can keep you waiting for a while.
You've been waiting for a long time for a certain fish, right?
Spot on. Who told you about that?
I took one of your lessons a while ago. You told me about it then.
Huh. Well, my memory sure isn't what it used to be. Anyway, you're absolutely right. Not just any fish. He's the king.
The king!
The king?
The way Mr. Kim says it sounds dramatic.
Yes, the king of the ocean.
Very dramatic. Also, if you look closely behind his glasses, you'll see he's like giving it the scowl.
He travels the waters of the world, all on his own. He takes his meals from a different fisher every night. It's said that if he chooses you, you'll have 7 years of good luck.
He winks, giving me a big thumbs up.
Not a bad deal for catching a fish, right?
7 years. Wow.
Sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? To tell you the truth, I don't care too much about that. But the privilege of being recognized by the king of the ocean, now that is a prize worth chasing.
So, if he's always swimming around the world...
I try to picture it in my head. That's a lot of water.
He only comes by once a year. 1 day is all you get, and then he's on to his next stop. And then the next fisherman.
No wonder you've been waiting for so long then. How many years have you been after him?
Oh, I've given up counting at this point. 16, 17, who's to say? I stopped keeping track at least 5 years ago.
God damn.
I've seen him once, which is more than many can say, but he swam right past our shores. I heard he was landed a few towns away.
I'll bet he must be huge if he's the king.
He's not tiny, that's for sure. His scales are every color at once, and they look like gemstones in the water.
So we're gonna be catching this fish later, I imagine.
Whoa. I want to see him.
You'll get your chance in a few months. He's due to swim past Wellington a couple of weeks before the new year. You can bet I'll be ready.
I'll try to. What do I have to do?
That's up to you. Some say it's just luck. Some say it's about having the tastiest looking bait. Some say the only thing that matters is where you're standing when he passes by. For me, I try to get to know the fish and the sea. I figure if they trust me, they can put in a good word with the king,
Mr. Kim talks to me about fish and fishing for a while longer until it's time for me to head off. Although I didn't catch anything again today, I still liked hearing those stories, so it wasn't a waste of time. In the end, he invites me to come back and fish anytime, whether it's a lesson or not. I promise to take him up on his offer, even though I know he won't remember it. I'd like to see this king too. The king! There's still a couple of months before he'll be here, so that's plenty of time for me to get better at fishing. With that new goal in mind, I head back home, already looking forward to returning. After having dinner and saying goodnight, I head upstairs and get ready for bed. As I flick off the lights and start to leave the restroom, something in my reflection catches my attention. My bead is glowing slightly. Just barely. It's so faint that I can only just notice it in the darkness. Removing the necklace, I inspect it more closely. They're warm. Not just my magical bead, but the regular ones next to it too. Not as warm as when I would use my transformation magic, but enough that after hundreds of years of carrying them, I can detect the difference. I'm not sure what it means. Everything about my magic has always been a mystery to me, really. Some things, like transforming, I just knew how to do instinctively from the beginning. But other than the fact that my bead always comes back to me, no matter where I leave it, I don't know much about it. Returning to my room, I brush my hair to the side and put the necklace back on. I don't have to wear it when I sleep, but it feels more uncomfortable not having it on, like something's missing. When I climb into bed, I pull the covers up to my chin like always. Rather than just transforming, I just lay there, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow is my first day of work. Never in a few hundred years had I expected that thought to ever cross my mind. Laying here, in the place that I've started thinking of as home, the idea doesn't seem that scary. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm excited too. Maybe I'll be really good at it. It'd be nice to be good at something other than thieving. As my eyes begin to get heavy, it occurs to me that usually I'd have changed into a fox by now. Except for the first night when I was too tired, I've spent all my nights here in that form. But tomorrow, I'm taking another big step into people life, so it feels more appropriate to stay this way. Rolling onto my side, I face out the window as I let myself succumb to sleep, with the gentle warmth of my beads against my neck. The morning of my first day of work, I wake up extra early, at least an hour before Aspen will be here. I creep through the house so Juliet can't hear me and slip out the front door. Outside, it's wet. I don't know if it's rain or just the morning dew. It's more dark than sunlight still, but I can already see the clouds overhead are gray. Just 2 weeks ago, this would have been cause for concern. Now it's barely worth thinking about. I have somewhere warm to go back to. I start walking, taking a familiar path. Has it really only been 2 weeks? I feel like I've done more living in the past few days than in all the years before them. Every day something new, and every evening something secure. It's a life I could have only ever dreamed about. It scares me how fast I've slipped into it. I spent my whole life alone. I devoted my entire existence to keeping it that way. But now, ever since meeting Aspen and Juliet, I'm not sure I like being on my own quite as much. It feels like I'm losing a part of myself. My armor, my defense mechanism. Like I'm getting weaker. And maybe that's true, but also, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's okay to let myself be a little more vulnerable. Just a little. There's no one else to be seen on Mount Victoria as I make my way up the path. Instead of going straight to the top, I veer off into the underbrush. I haven't been back to my den since Juliet came and found me. I haven't forgotten the way, though. All the rain since then has done a number on the den. It's barely recognizable since most of it had collapsed into mud. In other words, it hasn't changed much since the last time I was here. Overhead, the birds chirp in the trees. Maybe they're the ones I fed before.
Morning, birdies. Sorry I don't have anything for you today.
It doesn't stop them from asking. Half-heartedly, I try scooping away some of the mud from the mouth of the den, but more just slides down, erasing my progress. Then one of the walls collapses even more, making things worse.
Well, so much for that.
It's well and truly ruined. That's okay, though. I don't think I'll be coming back here. Just 2 weeks ago, this was all I had. Now it doesn't feel like anything. Maybe that's okay, too. I turn about to head back to the main path when there's the rustle of a branch and something comes out of the brush. She walks confidently for a fox. She trots right out of the bushes and crosses in front of me, and then freezes mid-step. Her fur is pure silver, except for a patch of black across her face and paws. We lock eyes. Instinctively, I can feel myself prepared to transform so I can greet her as a fox. But I hesitate. Is that still my place? I'd be lying if I called myself a fox now, at least fully. I relaxed, not having noticed how tense I was. My beads also got cold, although they'd barely started to heat up.
Hi there.
I say it as a person instead, same as when greeting the birds. At the sound of my voice, the fox turns tail and runs. She doesn't give it a second thought. 1 second she's there, and the next she's almost out of sight. I can feel a pull in my chest telling me to run after her. I'm sure I could still catch her if I tried. Of course, I don't. I'm not the kind of person who goes chasing after foxes anymore. Instead, I watch her disappear. It doesn't take long. Not even the grass rustles behind her. I'm sure I'll still transform into a fox in the future. I love it too much not to. But I have to set some boundaries for myself. Watching her go fills me with a pang of longing, but also confidence. I'm making a choice to live this way. Even if I regret it later, at least I thought about it. At least I'm trying. I make my way back to the trail and up the top of Mount Victoria. Coming up here never ceases to amaze me. No matter the weather or time of day, the view is always stunning. Right now, it's just me and the breeze. I close my eyes and spread my arms out, letting the wind ripple through my hair and jacket. For a moment, I just let myself go and appreciate how it feels to exist, to be alive and enjoying the breeze. I'm pretty lucky, aren't I? Slowly, I open my eyes again, looking out over the city spread before me. The first time I came up here, I thought it felt kind of small. After all, I can see the whole thing from here. But now, it strikes me how big it is. How big and how full. There are more people here than there are buildings, and there are plenty of buildings. Humans and fabled, all alive and existing. Up until now, it's been easy for me to forget that people exist just like I do. That they have thoughts and feelings and things that they want, rather than just being problems to solve or obstacles to avoid. Now I can't help but notice just how alive the world around me is, even at this early hour. I may be alone up here, but there's plenty of activity down in the city. I fumble around in my pockets until I find the right-sized coin and feed it into the binoculars nearby. Hey, she learned a word! I scan over the city, looking for anything that I recognize. Finding the fishing spot is easy, since all I have to do is follow the coast. The whole pier is already covered in fishermen. From there, I manage to find the Bell House. Its windows are dark and it doesn't stand out much. I wonder if Aspen will be the first one there again today. After the Bell House, I aim the lens at the library. The windows are dark there too, of course, including the window to my room. I pause on that image. Just my window, framed in the middle of the lens. From all the way up here, I can spot a tiny little place that I can call my own. I stare at it until the shutter clicks and the view goes dark. Just 2 weeks ago, I stood up here and wondered if I'd be better off leaving. I'm glad that I have an answer to that now. I turn around and begin the long walk home. The library is still dark when I get back, but I can hear the low murmur of conversation from the kitchen. As I step through the doorway, I find both Aspen and Juliet already seated at the table waiting for me. Breakfast is already cooked too. There's a lot more food than usual.
Ah, Miho. Welcome back.
There you are. We were wondering where you'd gone off to.
Ran away.
Morning. Just went out for a walk. Sorry if you thought I ran away again.
Aspen shakes her head, pouring herself a cup of coffee as I sit down.
The thought crossed my mind, but I didn't really believe it. You've got a big day today, right?
You can say that again. Went on my walk just to clear my head.
I hope you're excited too. I'm happy for you, even if I am a teensy bit jealous.
Aspen spoons a tiny scoop of sugar into her coffee and stirs it. Wait, is that how you're supposed to do it? Yeah, you're not supposed to just eat the cube. I'll have to remember in case Juliet ever makes me drink tea again. Yeah, I see it. I'm still waiting on the effect. Like, it literally hasn't even been a full minute. I always keep the leaks and reveals page open while I'm on stream. Just in case something crazy drops. I think I started doing that when EX6 started, spoilers.
A teensy bit of jealousy is a good motivator to work even harder myself.
Actually, about that...
Juliet, you had better not be about to offer me a job.
Rather the opposite. I have a favor to ask. Just for today, do you think you could assist Miho as she gets her bearings? It's getting near my bedtime, and while I'm sure Miho would be able to handle herself, I imagine a helping hand would make things easier.
Okay, now here's the question that I imagine we'll find the answer to later. I'm hoping. Does Juliet have a bed, or does she sleep in a coffin?
That is, assuming Miho doesn't mind.
Of course not.
Both of us look at Aspen expectantly. She bites her lip and tries to hide her smile behind her cup of coffee as she takes a sip.
Well, I suppose I could spare the time.
Great. But what about the Bell House? You didn't get fired.
Third question, does she want to sleep with the MC? She's one... Those are literally the two romance options in the game right there. So, relevant question, yes. Actually, no, there isn't any, like, racy scene like that with Aspen. I like that.
They'd go out of business the day they fire me, and they know that. But I enjoy how that's your first assumption. No, I simply swapped shifts with someone, so I don't have to go in until later.
Wow, that's convenient.
Oh, here we go. Demi Merimon effect. Your turn while your opponent has one or less Digimon, this gets plus 2k DP. Okay. Wow, it's ass. Yep. Moving on.
And much to our benefit. Thank you, Aspen.
Oh, don't mention it.
Then, shall we turn our attention to breakfast instead?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
It's the usual eggs and toast and fruit, but there are also pancakes and hash browns too. Maybe it's fine. I guess we'll have to see when we finally get a look at Volcanic Dramon. Or Dorbic. But I mean, like... It's... Just offhand, that is an ass effect. Like, your turn, your opponent only has 1 or 0 Digimon, and then it's just plus 2k. Fucking whatever.
You really went all out, huh?
I felt today merited a bit of a celebration. Of you, and the start of another chapter of your life.
Aw, thanks. It's really all because of you two, though. I'm just...
Oh, quit saying that. You need to give yourself more credit, Miho. We can only try to help show you the path. You're the one who has to follow it.
Whoa. Who wrote that?
Aspen did.
Nobody. I do occasionally have my own thoughts, you know. Anyway, just accept the compliment and let's eat.
I love how blunt Aspen is with everything. She's just like, listen, I can have original thoughts, thank you.
Fine.
We all fill our plates and start to eat. Breakfast is as delicious as always. The pancakes are still warm and dripping with melted butter and syrup, and the hash browns are nice and crispy. Aw, man, I want pancakes. I don't have them often because they're really filling. But yeah, that's not... Sorry, something just came up. I had to dismiss real quick. But yeah, now I want delicious pancakes. Someone go push Ketchy into a locker for me.
How is it?
Great! I've never had hash browns that weren't soggy before.
Ugh, soggy hash browns. Sometimes that's because they were leftovers I scavenged, but sometimes even when they're fresh, that's true.
I'll be sure to remember you like them this way. Oh, and the pancakes you made are delightful, Aspen.
Oh, Aspen made the pancakes. That's nice.
You made these?
Don't sound so shocked. I have to do a lot of baking and prep work at the Bell House.
They're really, really good.
Swallow your food, then talk.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them.
As tasty as they are, there ends up being more food than I can eat. I force myself to finish the pancakes, even though I'm full by the time I'm halfway done with them, because I don't want Aspen to take it personally, but eventually I have to throw my fork down in defeat.
Did you get enough to eat, Miho?
More than enough. I think I'm set for the rest of the day.
If she didn't have to, start work, she'd probably go pass out.
I'm sure you'll feel differently by lunchtime.
And there's no greater compliment to the cooks.
The three of us start to clear away the dishes, and I start to feel a little apprehensive as opening time draws near. I've spent enough time in the library to know I don't need to worry too much, but I can't help but be anxious. There are a lot of little details to remember, not just which books go where, but stuff like names and special requests, too. I already know I'm not going to be the fastest, since I'll just have to copy words and see which ones match instead of being able to read them. With all the practice and memorization I've done, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. So instead of dwelling on it, I make myself focus on rinsing the dishes, making sure I don't miss any spots. On the other hand, Aspen is positively buzzing with excitement, although I can tell she's trying to hide it. She flits from task to task, straightening things that don't need to be straightened and tidying up parts of the kitchen that aren't dirty. She hums to herself as she goes, sometimes popping up beside me or Juliet. And of course, Juliet herself is the same as ever, calm and stoic. I thought she might be a bit worried about leaving the library in our hands, but considering she leaves it unstaffed most of the time, maybe not. At the very least, I'm determined not to leave the library any worse when nobody is running it. Finally, we finish all the cleanup and chores.
Thank you for your assistance. Are you two ready?
Yes, whenever.
This is where I'd say, no, I'm not, but we're gonna do it.
Yep.
Let's get the two of you set up then.
Juliet leads us to the front desk, where there's a fresh stack of checkout sheets and a jar of pens, plus the computer for looking things up.
I did a once-over before breakfast to make sure everything was as it should be. I'm sure the two of you know your way around the place by now, and that's really all there is to it. And if you feel the need, don't hesitate to wake me.
Don't worry, we'll be fine. I'm like Cinderella. I intend to live my dreams for the precious few hours that I can.
She would love to work at the library.
Do you have any questions, Miho? Or anything you'd like to go over again?
Nah, I'm fine. I've done all the prep I can.
All right then. If the two of you are all set up, then I'll be off to bed. I'll see.
Have a good sleep.
Night-night.
Good night.
With a final wave, Juliet goes upstairs and disappears into her room. From behind the desk, Aspen places her hands on her hips and looks around like a queen surveying her kingdom.
And now we wait.
I take a seat in one of the two chairs and kick my feet back and forth. After pacing around a little bit, Aspen sits down too, twirling a pen between her fingers.
Nervous?
A little bit.
It's understandable. I was nervous on my first day of work too. I'm sure everyone is.
I just don't want to mess anything up. Especially not on my first day.
Relax, it'll be fine. Not that I think you will, but even if you do make a mistake, that's natural. It's how you get better at things. By doing them wrong until you figure out the right way. There's not much that can really go wrong, either. It's not like at a restaurant where there are customers paying money and with all kinds of different orders.
Yeah, that's hell. Don't do that, Miho.
If it takes you some extra time to find a book or put one away, that's no big deal.
Yeah, I know you're right, but I still worry. I don't want to do such a bad job that Juliet changes her mind about me or something.
Are you still worried about that? Juliet adores you. You could burn the whole library down and she'd still let you live in the ashes.
I doubt that.
That'd be closer to what I'm used to, at least.
Right, you and your dramatic backstory.
My what?
Backstory? Life story? Whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make light of it.
Oh, it's fine. I don't mind. Just forget that you think it's interesting.
I hope someday you understand why. Maybe you'll hear a story that resonates with you and makes you want to know more. Or get to know that person better.
Oh my god, Aspen, you are so obvious. She pokes me in the side with her pen.
Like me, when I met you.
I guess that makes sense. Like, when I talked to you and Juliet.
Juliet, perhaps. Even I don't know much about her life before she came to Welly. And even that is fuzzy.
And you?
I know this makes me sound like a hypocrite, but there really isn't much to say about my past. For one thing, I don't have nearly as many years as you two.
Yeah, we don't even... Not even Miho knows how many years she has.
But also, I had a boring, normal childhood in a boring, normal town. I went to a boring, normal school for a while before I moved out here, hoping for a change of pace. But now I live a boring, normal life, just in a different city.
I'll bet I wouldn't think it's boring. I don't even know what a normal town and normal school are like.
Whoop. Aspen opens her mouth to say something, but right as she does, the front door opens and Aspen leaps to her feet.
Good morning!
The guest, a red-haired human, looks surprised.
Oh, hello. Wasn't aware there was anyone working this early.
I'm just helping out today. But Miho here is the library's new daytime caretaker.
Hi there.
I wave, but I'm not sure if there's anything else I'm supposed to say. Luckily, Aspen seems to have it covered.
Let us know if there's anything we can do to help.
Cool. Congrats, Miho. I'm just here to browse. Thanks, though.
Enjoy!
She gives him a bright smile as he walks in and heads to the books before taking her seat again.
Good job! Thank you. Why don't you greet the next guest?
Do I have to do that for everyone who comes in?
No, but a smile and greeting never hurt. Although we'll have to keep the volume down.
Right.
The door opens again and a pair of twin dryads enters. I stand up, my legs feeling just a little shaky.
Hi! Let us know if we can help.
Neither of them speak, but they both smile graciously and nod in acknowledgement as they pass by us.
See? That wasn't so bad, was it?
No, but so far no one's needed any help.
True. Let's see who we get next.
We don't have to wait long. A breathless man carrying a stack of books staggers his way over to us.
Do you work here? Can you check these in for me? I'm running late as it is. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I wonder why he was in such a rush.
No clue, but I respect him still taking the time to drop off his returns. Do you want to start writing them down?
Sure.
Taking a deep breath, I grab the top book and a pen. The title isn't too long, fortunately. Slowly, I start copying the letters down. First a curve, then a straight line, then a loop, then an arch.
Hello, welcome.
I didn't even hear the door open this time. As more and more people start to come in, Aspen and I both end up pretty busy. The pile of books that needs to be checked in grows fast, and I have to start taking some of them to the back shelves as I go, just to make space. By using a little chart with the alphabet and numbers on it, I'm able to slowly match the labels on each book to their spot on the shelves. As the library gets busier, though, I start making some educated guesses about where certain books belong and putting them with others that look similar. I can fix it later if I have to.
Miho, could you give me a hand, please?
Over at the desk, the line of people has gotten pretty long. I have no idea what all these people normally did when there wasn't anyone to help them. I shove the rest of the stack I'm carrying into an empty shelf and hurry over to help. After finishing with one guess, she hands me a few handwritten notes with label numbers on them.
Can you go find these? I think one was returned today, so it might not be on the floor yet. Also, these ones were checked out in the wrong name, so they need to be corrected on the sheet. These 3 here are going to be picked up later, but we've been asked to pull them ahead of time, so make sure not to get them mixed up with the others. Okay?
Got it. Maybe.
Experienced barista who is used to juggling a bajillion tasks at once, and a confused little foxo who can't even read.
You've got this.
With a little cheer, she goes back to assisting people. I watch for just a moment. She's clearly in her element here. Even with the line growing longer, Aspen doesn't seem to be getting nervous. I can't say the same about myself, though. There's no time to waste. I bounce around the library trying to find the books Aspen wrote down. It takes a while, and I get the instructions mixed up a few times, but eventually I manage to track them all down. When I bring them up to the desk, the stack of returns has gotten almost as tall as I am, so I start checking them in as quickly as I can. Meanwhile, Aspen has moved around to the front to give me more space to write and work.
Alright, let's see.
I grab the top book and start to copy. Then the next, and then the one after that. Before long, they all start to blend together and the letters seem to swirl around and move on the page. Yep, happy Aspen, frustrated Foxo. I thought this was going to be easy, but it's making my brain feel like soup. I'm determined to push through it though, even if it takes me forever. Which at this rate, it just might. If Aspen weren't here, I don't know what I'd do. Or what I'll even do tomorrow on my own. I can worry about that later though. For now, I have to keep doing the best I can. Book after book, line after line, guest after guest. It gets easier as the day goes on, but I wouldn't say it gets easy. But Aspen and I keep going, and eventually we do start to get things under control and keep the chaos to a minimum. It's tough work, but not too tough. Maybe Aspen was right about something. The more I try, the more I feel I can do this. And that's the end of Chapter 2. Chapter 3 we're going to do next Wednesday, Old Scars and New Friends. That was a nice little journey into Wellington. Got to see how Miho was adjusting to human life. But that other fox that she met, she should have greeted it as a fox. Perhaps we'll see more of that silver fox next time. And it's not that kind of silver fox. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming out. Sorry again about cutting stream early on Monday. I was just feeling off. Wasn't great. But yeah, we will then be continuing. Actually, no, this week is going to be a bit different on Friday. I forgot. So I'm going to be playing Raft with my friends Hero Girl, Francois, Orion Senshi, and Android Jess. We played it a few weeks ago for Hero Girl's birthday. And we decided that we want to keep doing it. So that's what Friday is going to be. We're going to be starting at level, I think it was like 6 EST. Hang on, let me just double check that. Raft. Yeah, 6 p.m. So that'll be 6 p.m. EST. And then depending on how long it goes and how I'm feeling, we may continue with Kingdom Hearts. Basically, we're going to be doing Raft monthly. Was it monthly? Yeah, first Friday of each month is what we're going to be doing. So yeah, we're going to be playing Raft then at 6 p.m. EST. I will post the link on Twitter and Discord for Hero Girl's channel. And then, depending on how things go, we'll continue with Kingdom Hearts afterwards. But yeah, for now, thank you everyone for coming out and for hanging with us as we explored Miho's new life. I will catch y'all on Friday for Raft. Have a good night, everybody.